Of Daya-sama, he thinks, feeling his own inadequacy, compared to me. Dayas becomes a whirlwind of destruction, his axe a spinning vortex of steel. He carves through the swarm, deflecting and crushing the creatures relentlessly. In moments the ground around him is littered with the bodies of the fallen bats. But just as he clears a path, a monstrous shriek echoes through the air. Dayas's eyes widen. A giant version of the bat, the colony's leader, lunges from the swarm, its fangs aimed right for him. The beast's jaws clamp down on the shaft of his axe with incredible force. Dayas grits his teeth, recognizing the alpha, the colony's leader. Klaus readies his spear to assist. He and Dayas stand their ground as the massive creature barrels towards them. The beast moves with terrifying speed, easily batting aside their initial attacks. "This guy, what speed?" Klaus shouts in alarm. From the sidelines, Aruna's horn begins to glow with magical energy. Dayas braces himself for the leader's next attack. "Daya-sama," Klaus cries out. Aruna cups her hands to her mouth and unleashes a magically amplified roar. "Don't lose, Dias." A visible shockwave of sound erupts from her, slamming into the bat leader. The creature is stunned midair, its senses completely overloaded. It plummets from the sky, crashing hard into the ground. The battle is over in an instant. Aruna calmly explains the creature's weakness. This blind bat is sensitive to sound. When attacking them, using magic to amplify your voice will knock them out. If it's small fry like these, she adds with a confident smile, then even children can probably deal with them. Dayas, clutching his head from the sonic blast, gives her a grateful thumbs up. "You really saved me, Aruna, thanks." With the threat gone, the villagers emerge. Senai and Ahan curiously poke the down bats as Klaus remarks, "What an amazing voice, you surprised me." Aruna smiles, pleased with her work. Dayas looks at her, still a bit dazed. He points to his ear, wincing. "Ah, sorry Aruna, there's still a ringing in my ear so I can't hear you that well." Aruna's expression softens as she sees him in discomfort. She steps closer, her hands clasped nervously. Then she gently cups his face and gives him a soft kiss on the cheek. Dayas is completely frozen, his mind going blank. Aruna pulls back with a shy, blushing smile. Still stunned, Dayas can only stammer, "Aruna, what did you say, Aruna?" Meanwhile, poor Klaus lies passed out in the grass, having been caught in the friendly fire of Aruna's sonic attack. For 5 long days, Dayas has been tirelessly grinding away at a strange stone. He's turning a massive pile of rocks into a fine powder, one scrape at a time. Finally, with one last wipe of his hand, the painstaking work is complete. Dayas collapses in satisfaction. Yes, it's finally finished, he thinks. This fertilizer, a gift from Moru, is the first step to creating the farm of their dreams. But as he imagines tilling the soil, a voice cuts through his daydream. Dayas. He turns to see Aruna approaching, her expression unusually serious. "I'm getting a reaction," she says, her eyes fixed on the horizon. "Something is approaching from the east, it's just." A strange tension fills the air as the wind whips through the tall grass. Without a word, they both race towards a better vantage point. Aruna's horn begins to glow as she activates her perception magic, scanning the distance. Through her magic she sees a blurry image. "There are several people and a lot of horses," she reports telepathically, "and something else, something that is neither human nor horse." Dayas decides to investigate, just to make sure. "I was gonna go and check it out, but..." Aruna immediately shuts him down. "It's unclear what that thing is, so I'm not letting you go by yourself, Dayas." Dayas suits up in his armor, admitting to himself, "Still, it's reassuring when Aruna comes with me." As they crest a hill, Aruna shouts, "We should be able to see them soon." Dayas raises a spyglass to his eye, peering across the plains. His eyes widen in surprise. He recognizes the person leading the caravan. "It's Kamlots," Dayas yells. "Aruna, that's Eldan's servant Kamlots." Aruna is completely unimpressed. "Stop talking so dramatically, what's that behind him?" She snags the spyglass to get a better look. "What's that white creature?" Dayas realizes what Aruna's magic must have sensed. "I see, they brought a white Jia with them, so that's what that weird feeling was." He muses, "So that animal that looks a lot like a black Jia is called a white Jia, huh? What an easy-to-remember name." As the caravan gets closer, Aruna notices something odd about the second wagon. She squints, focusing on the cargo. "Dayas, that second wagon. There are small shadows moving about, peeking outside." Dayas is puzzled. "What is it? I'll go ask Camelots what he's piled up." Meanwhile, inside that very wagon, a secret plot is unfolding. Hidden amongst the cargo, a group of stowaways are up to no good. A small, bespectacled rabbit-like creature named Kikiki sighs in relief. "Yeah, after getting caught by that slave hunter, I snuck into this wagon headed for the desert. I'll make it back home somehow." He decides to grab some provisions for the road. "That's right, let's take some of these soybeans with us." Suddenly another creature startles him. "Hey, YOU, what are you doing?" The second creature scoffs at Kikiki's attempt to pack food. "That's just dead weight, we don't need it." Kikiki argues back confused. Aren't we going to need food for a long journey? We need to prepare. The other creature reveals the grim truth. Kikiki, haven't you noticed? This wagon isn't headed for the desert. Returning home was a lie. Our true objective is the dragon killer. He declares their grand mission. If we kill the human that killed a dragon, our strength will be known. We'll take back the honor of the desert citizens. Kikiki is horrified. What? I only helped because I thought we were all going home together. He panics, and our opponent is a dragon killer. If he's stronger than a dragon, it's impossible. Don't tell me everyone else is okay with this. But a hooded leader begins to rally the others, spewing propaganda. Humans are liars, we've been tricked. That dragon killer is just as shabby and feeble as the rest. The leader's words whip the others into a frenzy. We are ranked higher than humans. We'll make them realize it, take their food, and then go home. It's the perfect plan. Outside, the caravan comes to a halt as Camelot raises his hand. The sudden stop sends Kikiki flying inside the wagon. Diaz and Aruna step forward to greet the party. Camelot bows his head. Diaz-sama, Aruna-sama, thank you for meeting us. We've brought the goods promised by Eldon-sama. Inside the wagon, the creatures peek out and see their target. It's Diaz, the dragon slayer. Diaz greets his guest. You really came, Camelots. I know it's bad manners to skip pleasantries, but there's something I want to ask you. The creatures inside are losing their nerve. No, that's bad. There's no way we can win against that kind of opponent. Kikiki screams in terror. Everyone's gonna get killed. Diaz hears a faint squeak from the wagon. Camelot looks back confused. Diaz narrows his eyes. Is there something there? In a flash, the canvas of the wagon is thrown open. A swarm of the rabbit creatures leaps out, charging straight for Diaz. Defeat the dragon slayer, their leader screams. He's defenseless, now's our chance. Diaz is stunned. These mice can talk. But before they can even reach him, Aruna moves. She becomes a blur, effortlessly kicking and chopping at the attackers with precise, non-lethal blows. In seconds, the entire ambush is neutralized. Diaz watches in awe. Aruna. She lands and scolds him. Diaz, you're too careless. Are you going easy on them? They might be Camelot's property, so I probably shouldn't kill them. One of the downed creatures musters the strength to shout. We aren't anyone's property, you rude woman. Don't make fun of us desert citizens, you tramp. Aruna simply bonks him on the head, knocking him out. Diaz steps forward, his expression turning cold and protective as he levels his weapon. Aruna is a wonderful woman. I won't forgive any insults. Hearing this, Aruna blushes, her heart skipping a beat. Camelot's finally processing the chaos is apoplectic. What was that just now? He barks orders at his guards. You people defend them, and catch those foolish mice until not a single one is left. With the situation under control, the white jay simply chew their cud, unbothered by the commotion. As the captured attackers are bundled into a sack, their muffled shouts echo, Damn you, dragon slayer, humans are despicable after all. Camelot's guards bow deeply, their wolf-like faces etched with shame. We're terribly sorry. Camelot himself approaches Diaz and Aruna, his head lowered. Diaz-sama, Aruna-sama, for all the trouble we caused you. If there's any apology I could offer that would make this right. Diaz holds up a hand, dismissing the apology. Camelot, there's no need for you to apologize. But Camelot insists, his voice heavy with responsibility. Oh no, they live in our fiefdom. As Eldon's representative, I have every reason to apologize for them hunting you down. Diaz is confused. Fiefdom subjects, those small animals, are you perhaps referring to those Jujin? Camelot explains that even if a race looks identical to beasts, if they possess a settled culture and the ability to speak, they are known as Jujin, a race considered equal to the Ajin. Diaz recalls an old myth about words being a divine gift to humanity. I see, he realizes. In that case those mice are people, they're Jujin. Camelot elaborates, those folks are the big-eared mouse race. They call themselves the citizens of the desert, though many races live there. This only raises more questions for Diaz. There are deserts inside of Eldon's fiefdom, I've never heard of any in the kingdom. Camelot clarifies that their desert homeland is not part of the kingdom, but a vast desert belt located far to the south of the Sapscrife kingdom. His expression darkens as he explains the situation. Somehow, it seemed like there were slave hunters there. And with that, Eldon had put them under his protection, promising to help them return home when they could. But the Jujin were hostile and suspicious, shouting, Don't screw with us. Why would we believe a mixed human like you? Despite their open rebellion, Eldon treated them with kindness, extending his protection as if they were his own relatives. Camelot sighs, and now that Eldon-sama is the feudal lord, they've grown restless, believing the day of their return is close at hand. Aruna, sensing the man's aura, speaks up. Before, Camelot's was white, but now he's blue. Since he's blue, it'd be best to let him go and forgive him. Her gaze hardens as she thinks of their attackers. But those mice are a strong red. If we see them again, we won't hold back. Camelot listens, a mix of relief and concern on his face. Diaz makes his decision clear. For this matter, there's no need for you to apologize, Camelots, your feelings are enough, but if you insist, we'll accept your apology. His tone then shifts, becoming stern. However, Diaz continues, their words and conduct are quite a problem. He delivers a final warning. Ensure nothing like this approaches us again. If it happens a second time, I don't know if I'll be able to hold back. I'll leave their punishment to you, Diaz concludes, placing the responsibility squarely on Camelots. Camelots bows deeply, accepting the terms. I understand, thank you very much, Diaz-sama. With the tense situation resolved, Diaz and Aruna share a quiet moment. Just then, one of the dog-like Ajin guards approaches his master. Camelot-san, the guard reports, we've finished a visual survey but checking by smell has become tricky. He explains their scent is everywhere, and the cargo also includes a huge amount of spices. Hearing this, Diaz offers his help. Is that so? Then I'll check too. The guards readily agree and the search continues. In the end, their thorough inspection of the wagons reveals nothing else out of the ordinary. Diaz narrates that all the captured mice were sent back to Eldon, where interrogating them took priority over punishment. As Camelot's party prepares to move on, Diaz remembers something. By the way, Camelots, your guards mentioned spices. Camelots apologizes for the oversight and hands Diaz a sealed letter. I'm terribly sorry, I forgot to explain due to the incident. This is related to the spices. Please read it. If I remember correctly, Diaz adds, you should be carrying farming tools. Diaz breaks the seal and begins to read the letter from Eldon. My dear, beloved Diaz Dono, regarding the farming tools, we've sent everything we could get our hands on. This should be enough, yes. The letter continues, we also included some local spices. As for the wagons and horses that brought the goods, they are also for you. Eldon's words are full of warmth and hope for a future friendship between their lands. Diaz is genuinely touched by the gesture. Thank you, Eldon. But as he continues reading, he sees a postscript. Eldon declares the entire shipment a gift, a token of their friendship with no payment required. Camelots adds, Eldon-sama also said giving you horses without a barn would be trouble, so we prepared construction materials. Diaz is floored. What? A stable? Camelot smiles kindly. Please be at ease and leave all the construction to us. Diaz is overwhelmed, realizing the only way to repay such a monumental gift would be with something equally valuable, like materials from the Earth Dragon. Camelot's gestures to the magnificent animals. From now on, if you wish to travel, how about taking the reins? The guards encourage him, praising the swift horses. Aruna stares wide-eyed and speechless. She finally finds her voice, turning to Diaz in disbelief. Diaz, is this true? Are we really getting horses? Still processing the sheer generosity, Diaz confirms it. Ah, it seems so, look right here, 4 of them. Before he can finish, Aruna bolts past him, throwing her arms around one of the horses in pure ecstasy. Horses, look Diaz, we got horses, and my heart has never been this happy. Diaz watches her, a warm smile on his face. For the Oni folk, horses are more than just animals. They are pivotal for combat and transport, a status symbol whose value can exceed even that of a Mia. Owning horses is a sign of wealth and power, yet Aruna's family was poor and always had to borrow them from others. Watching her, Diaz understands. She's thinking of her family, her heart filled with a lifetime of longing. Aruna turns back to him, her eyes shining. From childhood, my dream was to be a woman of a family who owned horses. I always hoped you'd get some one day, but I never imagined it would be so soon. Suddenly, she launches herself at him. She wraps her arms around him in a crushing hug. Thank you, Diaz, as expected of my husband, leave everything to me. I can look after the horses and handle the wagons. As Diaz struggles to breathe, he can only think one thing. She's hugging him with the strength of 100 horses. And from the look on her face, she has no intention of letting go anytime soon. Meanwhile, back in the now stationary wagon, the commotion has died down. Kikiki, the small mouse who managed to hide in a chest of soybeans, peeks out. Sigh, I'm glad, I thought for sure they'd find me. He decides it's time to escape, but when he pushes on the lid of the chest, it doesn't move. He pushes again, confused. Is there something on top of this? Trapped in the dark, Kikiki begins to panic. Someone please help me. In the fields of Iluk, Senai runs up to Ahan, her eyes wide with excitement. Look, Ahan, Diaz got some black tea leaves. She presents a small pot. I put some in here for you too. Ahan leans in, taking in the aroma. What a nice smell. Senai gets a brilliant idea. Hey, it'd be great if we got some seeds to go with the black tea. Ahan smiles, a gentle, nostalgic look on her face. She clutches a locket, her voice soft. That's right, Mum and Dad also loved black tea. Meanwhile, the fledgling Iluk village is taking shape, a small collection of yurts and structures dotting the vast grasslands. A new chapter for its people is about to begin. To make this land their own, they need to farm it. One of Camelot's men instructs Diaz on how to use a new tool. Hold onto the handle firmly, Diaz-chan. This jig is used to field work, so just tell it to walk when you're ready. Diaz looks nervous but determined. I understand, okay, walk. The Jie pulls the plow forward, effortlessly tearing through the tough soil. Diaz is amazed. Ooh, that's great, white Jie. He marvels at the technology. This is a farming tool called a plow. It cultivates the land without even needing to mow the grass first. With this, making crop fields will be a breeze. With the first rows tilled, the local Mias and Jie gather to inspect the new development. The next step is preparing the soil. Diaz begins mixing in his special fertilizer. Granny Chilchai, one of the village elders, offers her wisdom. We need to let the overturned soil rest for a few days. Let's plant the seeds in 3 days. To ensure success, Diaz decides to run an experiment, dividing the plot into 2 groups. He sits with the elders, discussing the plan over a cup of tea. He explains his methodology. One plot, Diaz's garden, uses his ground-up plant fertilizing stone. The other, BBA's garden, uses the traditional method of mixing in wood ash, a technique the grannies swear by. But Granny Tala brings up a critical point. About all the talk of things not being able to grow in these grasslands, I've been thinking, while we wait, I think we should dig a reservoir pond. Diaz is taken aback. Huh, are you saying we don't have enough water? We're fine for now, but... He quickly pieces it together. The village's well is fine for daily use, but the small river is their only other source. It's narrow and will likely dry up in the summer. For the fields, they'll need a backup. So just in case, we need to make a reservoir pond. Granny Tala smiles, seeing he understands. Do you get it, Diaz? Diaz's face lights up with comprehension. Of course, if we make a reservoir pond, it'll be fine. He pumps his fist, praising himself. That's right, Diazjan, you're so smart. As they finalize their plans, a voice calls out his name. It's Senai and Ahan running hand in hand towards him. Are you done making the field? Are you done? Diaz looks up from his work. No, not yet. It's going to take several more days. By the way, was there something you needed? But as he looks closer, he sees a flicker of worry in their eyes. Their usual cheerful energy is gone, replaced by a strange apprehension. Just then, Aruna calls out from the village. Hurry home, it'll get cold, I'm done cooking. The girls turn to her. Aruna's calling you, thanks for coming to get us. As they head back, the girls walk with their heads down, a stark contrast to how they arrived. Diaz watches them, a sense of unease growing. The vast open sky seems to mirror his own confusion. He walks with his Mias, the girl's strange behavior weighing on his mind. Even the sheep seem to sense that something is off. He can't shake the feeling. For some reason, he thinks, these two are behaving strangely. Ahan finally speaks up, her voice small. Hey Diaz, he turns to her. Yeah. She looks up at him with concerned eyes. Are fields hard? Are you tired? Before he can answer, Senna adds, if the field doesn't turn out good, will Diaz be sad? Diaz smiles reassuringly. No, this kind of work isn't that hard, and sad, nah, we do all that we can, and if it turns out badly, there's nothing we can do about it. Senna hesitates, gathering her courage. Her voice trembles as she asks the real question. Diaz, what if we had a secret? Would you be sad? Diaz looks down at her, his expression turning serious. He considers her words carefully. He answers honestly, I'd probably be sad if you were hiding something bad. But if it's nothing like that, well, everyone has a secret or two, so I wouldn't be sad. A wave of relief washes over the girls' faces. His kind and understanding words were exactly what they needed to hear. Diaz, however, is left completely baffled. For some reason, they asked me an unrelated question. Their mood instantly flips, and they start dancing around happily. Without another word, they dash off towards the yurts as Aruna calls out their names, just as confused as Diaz. Diaz stands alone with his Mias, utterly perplexed by the bizarre exchange. That night the question lingers. He couldn't stop thinking about it. I got curious about their condition, so at every opportunity I ask myself, what's up with that question? But I haven't come up with an answer. He even asked Aruna, but she had no idea what it meant either. The other villagers tried to ask the girls too, but they wouldn't explain their cryptic words at all. It wasn't the first time they'd caused a stir. He remembers another incident that had everyone worried. It was a strange situation that caused a lot of concern. But seeing them carrying on so cheerfully afterwards, Diaz decided to let it go. Well, I think kids around this age just have these kinds of things, he reasoned, and gradually he forgot all about it. 3 days pass. Aruna stands before the prepared field. Now that the soil has rested, let's start planting seeds today. She holds up a small pouch. This is a fast-growing medicinal herb called Yamoshi herb. If the plant fertilizing stone is effective, it will start sprouting by tomorrow. Diaz takes the seeds, feeling optimistic. This should be enough to test the field, thanks Aruna. He imagines the sprouts already shooting up, a testament to the power of the fertilizing stone. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, he says to himself. Just then Klaus calls out Diaz-sama. Diaz turns to see the young guard approaching. Klaus delivers his report with a smile. I'm here to report that Camelots and company have completed the stable. Diaz is floored. What? It hasn't even been 3 days since they started building. How did they do it? He looks over and sees a perfectly constructed stable, already housing 4 horses. The secret was their construction method. They used pre-manufactured materials that only needed to be assembled on site. This modular system, popular in the neighboring fiefdom, was fast, efficient, and easily adaptable. Diaz shakes Camelot's hand gratefully. Thanks, Camelot's, this really helps us. Camelot's humbly replies, oh no, we're merely following Eldensama's orders. Diaz gestures to some crates. Since we didn't discuss costs as a sign of appreciation, we prepared these raw materials. Please feel free to take them. Camelot's asks what kind of materials they are. Diaz grins, an earth dragon. But when Diaz offers the raw materials from the earth dragon as payment, Camelot's and his crew absolutely lose it. Panicked, Camelot's throws up his hands, shouting, no, 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 we couldn't possibly accept such a large quantity of dragon raw material, please have mercy. One of his men is equally terrified, accusing them, you're scheming something, do you have some ulterior motive for having us transport it? The man forces a pained, sweaty smile, clearly overwhelmed by the offer. Ultimately, Diaz had to reframe the deal. It wasn't a gift, but a request for them to take care of the materials for their mutual benefit. Only after he wrote a formal letter of authorization did they finally, nervously, accept. The next day, Camelot's group prepares to leave. Our duty has ended, so we shall depart, he says with a bow. Thanks for all your care, Diaz-sama. Diaz returns the sentiment, oh no, you're the ones who have cared for us. Thanks, Camelot's. But the farewell is hitting Senna and Ahan the hardest. They cling to Aruna, heartbroken. Tears stream down their faces as they watch their new friends prepare to leave. When they first met, the girls were too shy to even greet strangers. But after spending time together, they had opened their hearts, making this departure unbearably sad. Aruna gently comforts them. Come on, you can't cry forever. Now that we've finished seeing them off, let's go take care of the horses. She adds, trying to distract them, if you don't hurry, the horses will cry of hunger or thirst. The girls wipe away their tears, still sniffling from the emotional goodbye. With their spirits lifted, they take each other's hands and run off towards the new stable, ready for their next task. As they walk away, a thought crosses Diaz's mind. Oh yeah, I wonder how the fields are doing. He and Aruna head over to inspect the plot of land they'd so carefully prepared. But what they find is a disaster. Every single sprout has withered and died. Aruna looks on with concern as Diaz stares at the failed crop. Diaz, she says softly. Diaz, however, tries to stay positive. What, something turning out well the first time around? That never happens. We probably didn't give the soil enough time to rest. Let's replant it and check the results. But the next day, the result is the same, another field of dead sprouts. Aruna watches Diaz, who is deep in thought, trying to figure out what went wrong. He comes to a conclusion. Maybe we didn't use enough plant fertilizing stone, I'll just add a bit more. So he gets back to work, grinding more of the stone into a fine powder. He diligently spreads the new, stronger mixture across the field. And yet the next day, it's the same heartbreaking sight, nothing survived. Aruna can only watch as Diaz kneels by the field, the failure weighing on him. Still refusing to give up, Diaz mutters, even still, there isn't enough plant fertilizing stone powder, we need to increase the quantity more. He throws himself back into the grueling process, grinding and spreading the powder with a desperate intensity. Another sun rises. And another field of crops dies. Diaz looks utterly defeated, the exhaustion and repeated failure etched onto his face. Aruna calls out to him, her voice filled with worry. He's almost delirious, mumbling, we need to increase the amount, twice as much as yesterday. No, 3 times. Aruna rushes to his side, pleading, Diaz, you've done enough. Come on, take a break. She looks at him with sorrowful eyes. Mixing that much plant fertilizing stone is bad for the soil. In the end, growing a crop field in these grasslands was impossible after all. Diaz finally stops staring out at the barren land. So that's how it is. Well, life has lots of these kinds of things. He forces a weary smile. Even though the seeds we planted were all wasted, I'll put my utmost effort into a different job. Aruna looks at him, relieved that he's finally stopped pushing himself. Together they walk away from the failed experiment, leaving the dead field behind them. Elsewhere near the new stable, Senai and Ahan are doing their chores, but their hearts are heavy. Senai looks to her sister, her expression troubled. What should we do, Ahan? Ahan replies quietly, yeah, I want to help Diaz too, but... She clutches her broom, feeling completely helpless. She looks down at a small vial in her hand. What should we do, Mum? Suddenly, a faint, desperate voice cuts through the air, making both girls jump. HELLLLLLPMEEPLEASSS. They look around, trying to find the source of the mysterious sound. Did you hear that? Senna whispers. Ahan nods. I heard, a stranger's voice. It said help me. Let's go see. Driven by curiosity and concern, the 2 girls run towards the storehouse. They stop near the gyp pen, listening intently. The sound seems to be coming from the yurts and buildings nearby. They stand amongst the yurts, trying to pinpoint the direction. The voice echoes again, clearer this time, help me please. It's coming from inside the storehouse, let me out of here. Inside, trapped and frantic, a small creature thinks to itself, it's been roughly a week, I know we can go a long time without water but anyone would be at their limits by now. The creature, a Jujin, laments their situation, wishing they had just spoken up when Diaz was around. Just then, Senai and Ahan push open the door to the storehouse. The trapped Jujin's ears perk up at the sound. A desperate voice erupts from within the darkness. Is anyone there? Help me please, let me out of here. The girls look at each other. So there was something in here, Senai asks. Is there something over there? Ahan wonders. The voice guides them. Over here, inside this wooden crate, I can't get out because of the luggage on top of the lid. The girls immediately try to help. Wait, I'll get you out, Ahan says. Senai grunts, Ahan, this is heavy, I can't lift it by myself. Hearing them struggle, the voice inside calls out with concern. Are you okay? Realizing they're children, the trapped person pleads, please don't try to do anything you can't. If possible, call an adult over. But Ahan knows that's not an option. No, all the adults are busy, everyone else is working, so now's not a good time. The voice inside sounds worried. It would be bad if you got injured, I can hold out for a little longer, but the girls are determined. Don't worry, we're almost there, this is the last. Together they heave the heavy sack, 1, 2. They manage to push the heavy sack off the crate's lid. They stare in anticipation as the way is cleared. With the weight gone, the lid to the crate begins to open. A small, big-eared Jujin with glasses emerges, tears of relief streaming down their face. OHHHH, thank you so much, being trapped in here was truly, truly difficult. I owe you to my life. The girls, unfazed, introduce themselves. I'm Senai, who are you? Hello, pleased to meet you, I'm called Ahan. The Jujin beams at them. Thank you so much, those glasses suit you. Ahan asks bluntly, you're a Jujin, are you a boy or a girl? Standing proudly in the now open crate, their rescuer declares, I am a Jujin of the big-eared mouse race. My name is Aimer Jeriboa, and while we're on the subject, I'm female and an adult. Meanwhile, completely unaware of the discovery, Diaz was already trying a new plan, pulling the plow himself to till a new patch of land, as Aruna yelled at him to stop. In the village storehouse, Senai and Ahan find the little creature they just met. Hey, Aimer, why were you in there? Ahan asks. Were you punished for doing something bad? Aimer frantically explains her side of the story. It was all a huge misunderstanding. My acquaintances wanted to capture Diaz and I just happened to be there. He thought I was one of them and was about to punish me, so I got scared and hid in a box. Then someone put heavy luggage on top and I couldn't get out, and that's my story. It's a bit long, sorry. The girls process this information and Senai asks the crucial question. Then Aimer, you're not friends with Diaz, you're not okay with him. Aimer shakes her head. Now that I think about it, I haven't even spoken with him. Senai leans in, we're not friends either. Sensing a potential ally, the two girls exchange a serious look. They huddle closer to Aimer, their voices dropping to a whisper. Hey, we want to ask you for advice, Aimer, but you can't tell Diaz or the others, it's a secret. The chapter opens with a glimpse of Aruna giving Diaz and another man a stern lecture. You need to act more like the man of the house. Back in the storehouse, Aimer is taken aback. A secret, shouldn't you ask someone from the village instead of me, you just met me. The girls shake their heads frantically. No, we can't ask anyone else. Aruna loves Diaz too much and so do Francis and Francis. If we tell them, Diaz will find out. Aimer realizes she's their only option. With worried expressions, they begin to explain. You see, Diaz works so hard every single day, but it's no use, he's getting drained here. Aimer listens intently as they reveal the core of the problem. The Earth's surface has no power, so his methods are useless. Soon he'll be completely drained. The thing is, we can do something about it, but it's something we can't show humans. Their faces are etched with sadness, caught between their desire to help and a heavy burden. A flashback reveals a painful memory of their parents' last words. Mom and Dad said the power to nurture forests must never be told to humans. If they find out, they will abuse it. You mustn't show them your power. Ahan whispers, that was the last promise we made to them. Tears welling in their eyes, they plead with Aimer. But we want to help Diaz. Aimer, you're not human, so we can tell you. What do you think we should do? Aimer's curiosity is piqued. This is far more serious than she imagined. Could you tell me the details of that story a bit more? After the girls pour out their entire story, they look at Aimer expectantly. Do you get it now? Aimer is trying to wrap her head around the massive info dump. Wait please, let's organize this. So, Senai and Ahan, you're from the forest people race. The girls' faces light up and they announce proudly, yep, the forest people who live in forests, the forest people who protect the forest. They explain that their race is dedicated to protecting, nurturing, and living in forests, using a special power called nurture. This power is sacred. When forest people are about to die, they explain, they store all their knowledge and power into a single seed. That seed is then planted in an important place, growing into a massive tree that eventually creates a whole new forest. It's a way for their legacy to live on. These trees are everything to them, a tombstone for their ancestors, a library of knowledge, and a living family tree that connects their entire race. Senai and Ahan explain they possess two powers, one to accelerate plant growth and another to create barriers that ward off illness and miasma. They finish their explanation and beam at Amer. That's basically everything, you get it right, Amer is so smart. Amer summarizes what she's learned. So, you two are still inexperienced and can't make a whole forest, but you can grow sprouts and create small but effective barriers. And you promised your parents to hide this incredible ability from all humans. Amer poses a logical question. I think the best way to hide your powers would be to live away from humans, so how did you end up here with Diaz? Senai admits they were scared of him at first, but his kind hands and gentle voice reminded them of their parents. Ahan smiles softly, kind and kinda smelly, they both add in unison, his sweat stinks. But despite his questionable hygiene, they felt safe. Compared to the people back home, everyone here is super nice, that's why we thought we could live here. Amer nods, finally understanding their dilemma. I see, and that's why you felt it was fine to tell me. She pieces it all together. So, you want to protect your promise to your parents, but you also want to use your powers to help Diaz fix this drained land. Is that right? The girls confirm. This land has no power of its own, it just drains any magic we pour into it. We need a barrier to stop it from getting sucked away. Amer puts on her thinking cap. What kind of phenomenon is this power drain? If we knew what was causing it, we might be able to come up with a countermeasure. But the girls just shrug it off. We don't care about that, we don't care. Amer tries to reason with them, but they're focused on the immediate problem. We just want to save Francis and the others' food before this whole place turns to sand. Amer finds their lack of curiosity strange. To her, it almost sounds like this phenomenon isn't natural at all, but that some person caused it. Her mind races with possibilities. A strange crop blight, miasma from a powerful monster, or some kind of naturally occurring anti-magic field that withers all vegetation. Setting aside the why for now, Amer focuses on the how. In any case, we need to figure out how to use your barriers without anyone noticing. Couldn't you just do it secretly when Diaz isn't in the fields? The girls immediately shut down the idea. No way, Diaz is always in the fields, and after work everyone is together until bedtime. Amer suggests a new plan, then how about in the middle of the night while everyone's asleep? But that's a no-go either. Impossible, we're also asleep, waking up is impossible for us. Amer grins, seeing her opening. Ah, then how about I come wake you up, in this form I'm great in the dark and can guide you at night. The girl's eyes widen with hope. Show me where you live, Amer says, and I'll come wake you up secretly. Success, the girls burst with joy, celebrating their new plan. Hooray, I'm so glad we asked her for advice. Amer watches, feeling good that she could help them. She tries to rein them in. Okay, firstly, let's reiterate the plan. But they're too busy jumping for joy. Wait, can you two calm down a bit? Amer pleads. With this much excitement, we'll definitely get found out. They continue their happy dance and Amer sighs, a wave of uncertainty washing over her. I've become uncertain about this. That night under a starry sky, Operation Secret Barrier begins. Amer takes a quick drink from a nearby stream. Refreshed and ready for her stealth mission, she whispers, Hugh, I feel alive again. She stealthily approaches the yurt where the group is sleeping. Finding the small tear in the fabric they told her about, she prepares to enter. This is it, yes, the hole those two opened up. She slips inside. The entire household is sound asleep. Amer peeks out from behind some cloth, her mission underway. She spots her first major obstacle, the dragon slayer Diaz sleeping soundly. Her heart pounds. If I can just sneak by carefully without him noticing. But the dust in the air has other plans. Amer lets out a massive, uncontrollable yhchoo. Diaz stirs in his sleep. Amer freezes, pinching her nose as the strong scent of his sweat hits her. Thankfully, he rolls over and goes back to sleep. Amer breathes a sigh of relief. That was close, it's exactly as they said. She finally reaches the sleeping girls and whispers, Good evening, it's Amer, please wake up. She gently prods them. It's time to go to the fields. Didn't you say you were going to help Diaz? If you don't get up soon, it'll be morning. Groggy and confused, the girls slowly begin to wake up. With Amer's help, they manage to get out of bed and sneak out of the yurt. Amer urges them on, trying to keep them moving. But once outside in the pitch-black night, the girls freeze in their tracks. What's wrong? Amer asks, perched on Senai's shoulder. They start to tremble. It's dark, I'm scared. Amer is starting to regret this whole plan. What do you normally do when it's dark and you have to go to the toilet? Ahan explains either Aruna or Diaz comes with us. They hold our hands. Amer's concern deepens, realizing just how young and dependent they are. The girls look up at Amer, sensing her hesitation. Suddenly Amer has a thought. Don't tell me. The girls present two small, glowing objects. Yep, Mum and Dad's seeds, Ahan says. Senai has Dad's seed, I have Mum's seed. They clutch the seeds to their chests. When we hold these seeds, we can receive happiness from Mum and Dad. They were always like this together. Amer understands now. I see. It's the memory of their parents contained within these seeds that gives them the courage to face the darkness. Under the vast starry sky, they finally arrive. Before them lies the large, barren field that Dias has been toiling over. Please wait here a bit, Amer says, hopping forward to inspect the land. She examines the dry soil. This is the field that Dias made. I can't see any obvious problems. The girls take out their precious seeds. They kneel at the edge of the field, ready to begin. Facing each other, they hold their parents' seeds in their hands, a silent promise passing between them. They close their eyes and concentrate, a faint, magical light beginning to sparkle around them. In an instant, a breathtaking wave of pure energy erupts from the sisters, washing over the entire field in a brilliant display. Amer can only watch, completely stunned. The seeds in their hands pulse with immense power. Their eyes snap open, filled with focus and determination. Amer is mesmerized. What a beautiful light. The seeds float in the air between them, glowing like miniature suns. As the girls begin to chant, the light intensifies, blanketing the land in its ethereal glow. Before long, the brilliant light seems to sink directly into the earth, absorbed by the thirsty soil. They finish their chant, their voices soft in the night. Hago, Migo, Nigo. The ritual is complete, the girls are completely drained. It's dark, that was hard work, Senai murmurs, yawning, sleepy, let's go back to the yurt. Amer watches them, relieved. They were able to do it after all, a barrier, yep, that's good. She leads the exhausted sisters back towards the yurt. Are we going home already? Then my role is finished. But back in bed, Amer finds herself trapped between the two sleeping girls. At this rate, I'll be found out, shouldn't we part ways? It's no use, they're fast asleep, hugging her tightly like a teddy bear. Hey, don't tell me you've fallen asleep. As the moon watches from the window, Amer struggles in vain. Please let me go. Meanwhile, far away in the Kazdek's fiefdom. Inside a bustling bar in the town of Maringar, rumors are spreading. A group of beastmen trade gossip over drinks. Hey, did you hear? Eldon Sama is going to the imperial capital, one says. I heard he brought back some earth dragon magic stones from the dragon killer. A deer-like Ajin nods in approval. If he presents those to the king, it will certainly leave a good impression and help with the security of the fiefdom. But a lion beastman is skeptical. An Ajin getting close with a human is pretty rare. You think they're scheming something. The conversation turns to Diaz's personal life. I heard a rumor the dragon killer has an Ajin wife, one whispers as we see Aruna sleeping peacefully. They even flirt in public. Another patron finds it hard to believe. Isn't the dragon killer from the eastern region? Humans from there are famous for their hatred of Ajins. Aruna tosses in her sleep, dreaming of Diaz. The beastmen laugh. So the dragon killer married the first Ajin he saw. They say he fell in love at first sight. He couldn't win against a woman. Curiosity gets the better of them. So what race is his wife? The answer comes back. Not sure about the details, but apparently she has a horn. The beastman repeats the detail with wide eyes. Has a horn. The others look at each other in shock. Don't tell me. Their imaginations run wild, picturing Diaz embracing a rhino beastman. A rhinoceros, a human fell in love with a rhino. Amazing. The topic of conversation shifts again. By the way, did you see the recruitment billboard the dragon killer made? They recall the sign's progressive message. Race doesn't matter, no criminals, food and lodging provided. Some small dog folk were staring at it for ages. The mood darkens, speaking of which some big-eared mice attacked them. There were rumors of a raid, and that a mastermind named Kiramaku was there. One of the beastmen growls. I heard some guys calling themselves the ape tribe are trying to incite violence. But no one has heard of them. They conclude it's a phantom group, created so the real culprits can dodge responsibility. The lion beastman leans in. The one pulling the strings is a tall man, covered in black cloth. Those mice fell for his story's hook, line, and sinker. He glances towards the door, just as a figure fitting that exact description slips out. Outside, the cloaked man Dealist scoffs in disgust. Jujin are all idiots, he seethes, walking away. So easy to trick, no matter how much gold I offer they won't listen. He clenches his fist, his plan in shambles. In the end, those gullible mice failed. I never had faith in them to begin with. His face contorts into a mask of pure hatred. Wait for me, Diaz, I will kill you. At the same time, at the Sans Seraph Night Station, two guards discuss the kingdom's shaky politics. They gossip about the royal succession, a tense power struggle between the king's children for the throne. As Diaz sleeps, unaware, the complex web of royal politics is laid bare, alliances shifting, factions rising and falling. The knights agree that the new Duke of Kazdek's, Eldon, is a major player whose allegiance could tip the scales. And crucially, they note, the new Duke has gotten very friendly with that Diaz guy. Their territories are neighbors and they're like sworn brothers. They connect Diaz to the infamous Netros grassland, a cursed land neighboring Kazdek's where he was made fief lord. They debate the nature of the curse, dismissing it as a tall tale. Crops won't grow and buildings burn down, what the heck? Regardless, they know one thing for sure. The actions of the Duke and Diaz will influence the direction of the entire kingdom. Suddenly, their conversation is interrupted. A female soldier bursts in, panicked. Diane-sama is leading a large number of troops. They've appeared outside the capital. One of the knights tries to wave her off. It's probably nothing, don't make such a fuss. But she insists, her voice trembling. She's bringing almost 200 soldiers and tens of supply wagons. Is there a war going on? The scene cuts to the third princess, Diane, a cruel smirk on her face as she drives a carriage pulled by two women. Her malicious thoughts are aimed squarely at the sleeping Diaz. You should be afraid, military forces are coming for you. A new day dawns in Iluk village, the sun filtering through the roof of the yurt. Aruna wakes up with a big stretch, but her sleepy haze is broken by a strange sight. She glances over at the sleeping twins. Wait, Ahan's and Senai's spot, those two switched places in the middle of the night, but why? Peeking closer, she sees the reason for the swap nestled between them. Aimer, the big-eared mouse they captured, stirs awake, her glasses all crooked. Ah, good morning. Aruna's brain finally catches up, and her expression turns to one of pure, unadulterated horror. A blood-curdling scream rips through the morning air, powerful enough to send the entire yurt flying. The commotion jolts Diaz wide awake. Later that morning, Diaz reflects on the chaos. The day started with a weird vibe in Iluk village. A bunch of strange things happened all at once. First, there was the whole Senai and Ahan slept with a mouse incident. Aruna went full mom mode, yelling, mice carry fatal diseases, before dragging the twins and Aimer off for a full-body medicinal bath. Diaz recounts the story to a strange visitor, a well-dressed pigeon man, and yeah, that's what all the screaming was about. The pigeon man simply nods. I see. Diaz continues his report, looking exhausted from the morning's events. Yup, that's how it went down. Honestly, I was worried it was another attack like before, but Aruna checked Aimer out and said not to worry. Apparently, her soul is a strong blue. The pigeon man tilts his head. Strong blue, never mind. Second incident, Diaz continues, the seeds we planted yesterday already sprouted. Granny Maja, however, isn't impressed. Well, seeds are supposed to sprout, aren't they? Yeah, Diaz thinks, but do they normally sprout in a perfect circle overnight? The weird part is, my field and Granny's field have different soil, but the circle just grew right over both like it didn't matter. The pigeon man seems intrigued. I see, that is a curious story. Diaz points to the sky. And now these birds are getting way too noisy. I think they're planning to steal the sprouts. You wouldn't happen to understand them, would you? The pigeon man lets out a hearty laugh. PSH ho ho ho, I'm afraid I can't perform such fairytale feats. The third thing is kinda minor, Diaz adds, but Senai and Ahan completely trashed the storehouse when they were trying to rescue Aimer. The pigeon man gives Diaz a look. Diaz-sama, you're always saying the weirdest things. Just then, one of the villagers approaches. I've finished cleaning up the storehouse, but I'd feel awkward eating these soybeans Aimer was dropped in. Still, throwing them away is a waste. The pigeon man's ears perk up. I see, it sure is. Delicious soybeans would be a waste to throw away. He stares intently at the crate of soybeans, practically drooling. Diaz narrows his eyes at the visitor. You can talk about soybeans all you want, but let's be real. Your sudden visit is the biggest incident of the day. Without warning, the pigeon man flaps his wings and bows deeply, catching Diaz completely off guard. Diaz flashes back to the tedious job of scooping up all the scattered beans. He sighs, remembering carrying the salvaged crate and wondering what to do with them. It's a pleasure to meet you, Diaz-sama, the pigeon announces. My name is Grant, I am a servant of Eldon-sama, I'm the main culp. He quickly corrects himself. I am the leader of the messenger pigeon folk. Diaz is floored, he can talk. After all the explanations, Grant suddenly panics. Oh no, I completely forgot my most important errand. A compartment on his chest pops open, revealing a stack of letters. Eldon has sent you a pressing matter, please confirm, please confirm. Diaz looks at the letters, then back at Grant. Grant waits expectantly. Oh right, I'm supposed to open these, Diaz says, taking the letters. There were 3 letters. The first was an apology for the Aimer incident, with a warning that the perpetrators were instigated by someone from the Black Belt. The second was about trouble in the capital. The third princess, Diane, is gathering troops for an unknown reason. But the third letter was the most urgent. It was about the recruitment billboard. A number of small-sized dog folk are interested in joining the fief, and I need to decide whether to accept them. Diaz pauses, considering the weight of this decision. Grant, Diaz asks, what exactly are these small-sized dog folk? I've met some before, but I don't remember different breeds. Among the dog folk there are 2 types, large-sized and small-sized, Grant explains. The ones you've met, Diaz-sama, are likely the large-sized. They're intelligent, strong, and shaped like people. The small-sized, on the other hand, are more like original dogs. They're driven by instinct, aren't very strong, and their paws make them clumsy. but they mature fast and have lots of kids. Your recruitment billboard came at the perfect time for them. Grant continues, because they struggle with work, your offer of food and board was probably the final push they needed to decide to come here. Diaz makes up his mind. Right, if everyone in the village agrees, we'll accept them. I'll go ask them now. Could you please wait here? Grant nods. I understand. As Diaz turns to leave, he glances at the soybeans and then at Grant's eager face. If you'd like, would you take these soybeans? Grant's response is immediate and ecstatic. With pleasure. Diaz sets off to gather opinions from the villagers. First he finds Klaus. He explains the situation with the dog folk. Klaus is all for it. Why not? We'd get more candidates for soldiers. The more the merrier, I say. Next, Diaz heads to the fields to find Granny Maja. She's busy inspecting the strange circular crop, but she waves him on. Sorry, I'm a bit busy here. If you're fine with it, Diaz-chan, then so am I asked the other grannies and no one has a problem with it. With their approval secured, only one person remains. Diaz peeks into the yurt. He finds Iruna in the middle of lecturing Senai and Ahan, who are still damp from their bath. I'm not angry, I'm just worried about everyone's health. Diaz steps inside to break the news. Iruna and the twins turn to him, surprised. When he tells them, the twins' eyes light up. A bunch of doggies are coming. They're absolutely thrilled, completely forgetting the lecture. Iruna, however, is not amused. Hey, you totally ruined my lecture. What was that about? Well, Diaz starts, I was trying to get them to reflect on what they did. But they're being stubborn and won't tell me why they wanted to sleep with a mouse so badly. Iruna's expression softens. If they're that insistent, maybe they have a good reason. Even I don't know what they're hiding, but I'm sure they didn't mean any harm. Well, if you say so, Diaz, she concedes. Let's just wait for them to talk about it when they're ready. Diaz nods, relieved. The twins, meanwhile, are fussing over Aimer. The poor mouse girl is completely wiped out from her forced bath. Diaz recalls that Iruna's soul judgment confirmed Aimer was a strong blue, meaning she wasn't a threat. The twins had somehow befriended her, and she was nothing like the hostile creatures they'd faced before. He decides to get the story from the source. He kneels down, getting Aimer's attention. Hey, Aimer. Why are you here? Diaz listens intently as Aimer prepares to tell her story. The small mouse folk looks incredibly nervous, a bead of sweat running down her face. She finally speaks up, this is going to be a bit long, but... Meanwhile, Grant the Pigeon Man takes to the skies, flapping powerfully as he begins his journey. Diaz watches him go, knowing the letter addressed to Eldon will arrive by sunset. In that letter, Diaz detailed his decision to accept the dog folk along with a small condition. He also wrote about their newest guest, Aimer, who pledges, I'm in your care from now on, Diaz-san. And as Diaz explains, Aimer has made it clear she wants to live in Iluk village permanently. When he asked her why, she laid out the entire situation for herself and her family, ending with a simple, heartfelt request. Aimer stammers, I want to be by Senai-chan and Ahan-chan's side. She quickly corrects herself, their power, no wait, I want to watch over their growth, I've gotten interested in them. Diaz realizes she's not just some random mouse. Now I see, he thinks. She's educated in reading, writing, and arithmetic. She could even be a tutor for the twins, she'll probably be useful. Aimer bows deeply, pleading, please let me live here, I'll do my best. Diaz recalls her fear of being sent back to her hometown if she went anywhere else. Her will to stay is incredibly strong. So Diaz introduced her to the rest of the village. He went around asking everyone's opinion and the response was mostly positive. Nobody had any problems. Except for Iruna. She shot him a bitter look, her voice dripping with disdain. You're going to let a mouse live in the village. Aimer immediately leaps to her own defense, objecting loudly. We people of the desert live hygienic lifestyles. Please don't lump us together with other rodents. Seeing her passion, Iruna relents with a single condition. As long as you keep a hygienic lifestyle, she concedes. And just like that, the big-eared mouse folk, Aimer Jeriboa, officially became a resident of Iluk village, much to the delight of Senai and Ahan. Later that day, Diaz heads over to the storehouse. He steps inside, looking over their supplies. But something feels off. He looks around, confused. A number of packages have gone and disappeared. His eyes widen in realization as he spots another empty space. A wine barrel hidden in the middle of all that is gone too. A wine barrel, don't tell me. Suddenly, Aimer's excited voice cuts through his thoughts. Diaz-san, I can hear everyone talking about a banquet and alcohol. Is this a welcoming party for me? I'm so happy, we need to go quickly. Following the sounds of celebration, Diaz heads towards another yurt. Smoke billows from the chimney, a clear sign that a feast is being prepared. Inside, the air is filled with the sizzle of cooking, as Iruna works diligently over a large pan. And there, in the middle of the room, sits the missing wine barrel. Aimer chatters excitedly on his shoulder as Diaz sighs, noticing the twins are, once again, adding walnuts to the food. The entire village is bustling with activity. Everyone is pitching in to prepare for the surprise banquet. Senai and Ahan even have their fluffy mias acting as four-legged serving trays. Aimer watches the grannies with wide-eyed wonder. What are they needing? I've never seen it before, Diaz explains. They have sugar jars, so they're probably making something sweet. Her curiosity piqued, Aimer bounces over to the elderly women. She asks politely, excuse me if you please, may I have a taste? Diaz watches the scene unfold, still processing it all. They did all these preparations, and kept it a secret from me. Aruna turns to him, wiping her brow. She flashes a proud, playful smile. How is it, Diaz? Are you surprised? He can't help but admit he is. Granny Meyer explains that with so many good things happening, she suggested they celebrate. Aruna beams. Since you were so busy writing your letter, Diaz, I used my own judgment and decided we should start preparing. Diaz is taken aback by her initiative. Aruna's expression turns mischievous. Well, Diaz, she says with a wink, you did hide alcohol without telling me so. We're even now, I guess. She begins to lecture him about kingdom law, explaining that alcohol is considered a poison for anyone under 18, whose bodies aren't fully developed. Diaz breaks into a cold sweat. He knows Aruna is only 15, and he admits to himself that he hid the barrel because he was afraid she'd get angry. But Aruna's tone softens. It's not like I have any reason to be angry. In any case, it's yours, Diaz. Did you really hide it because you were thinking of me? We've known each other for so long, you should know me better than that. Her expression grows more earnest. Preparing the feast without your permission, she admits, that was a tiny bit of revenge, and from now on I thought you'd want more advice. She moves closer, her cheeks flushing as she looks up at him. We are a married couple after all. Diaz is stunned into silence by her sudden, heartfelt confession. Aruna gets even more flustered by his lack of response. We talked about the dog folk and Aimer, but it's sad when you hide things from me, she says, her voice soft. If you're worried about me, then I'd like you to say something. She pats her own blushing cheeks. I'd like the two of us to discuss things a little bit more, since we're husband and wife. Finally finding his voice, Diaz replies, sorry. Aruna smiles, relieved. We'll do that from now on. Just as the tender moment sets in, Klaus cheerfully interrupts, so, very quickly about the alcohol. Aruna's mood shifts on a dime. Her sweet demeanor vanishes, replaced by a smug grin. She laughs, alcohol being bad for the body. What silly things are you saying, Diaz? Alcohol is good for the body, right? Diaz is horrified as she explains. For example, us Oni folk are habitual drinkers of kumis. It's nourishing and strengthens us against illnesses. We even give it to weaning babies. He completely loses it. You give alcohol to babies. No, surely that's wrong, they would die. Aruna shouts back, completely serious. That doesn't happen. If anything, not letting them drink it would put them at risk of dying faster. My family didn't own horses, so my siblings and I were always ill. It was really difficult. Diaz is reeling from the cultural whiplash. Granny Maya calmly intervenes. My, don't you two get along? Instead of frolicking around, can you two help out and leave the talks of alcohol for after the banquet? She gestures for them to get ready. We found the wine casket and thought it would be a good opportunity, she says with a knowing look. If the dog folk or anyone else come, then everyone can drink this and have a long chat. Is that what you're proposing? Diaz realizes arguing is pointless. If Aruna is this much of an alcoholic, telling her don't drink would be impossible. She wouldn't listen. He decides to let it go. Well, I guess that is Aruna's true self, he thinks. He acknowledges their cultural differences and decides to close his eyes on this one, just for today. He understands that each time a new species comes to Iluk village, a new culture will be introduced, and they will have to create new rules together. As he takes his seat at the head of the banquet, his resolve hardens. That's right, I am the fief lord. He looks at his happy, singing villagers. I have self-awareness. I must protect this village, no matter what enemies we face. The status of the Netros fiefdom is updated, officially welcoming Aimer Jeriboa and noting the addition of a new barn and cattle stable. But a shadow looms on the horizon, as a strong new enemy approaches the peaceful village. The day after the big feast, the villagers gather for breakfast. But on the table is an unfamiliar, milky white liquid. Aruna presents the drink to everyone. I was thinking about our talk on alcohol last night, she explains. So I went to the Ajin village this morning and they gave me some. This is kumis. She offers a bowl to Diaz. Well, try a sip. Diaz looks skeptical. You drink alcohol first thing in the morning. Hesitantly, Diaz takes a drink. His eyes widen in surprise. Is this really alcohol? He asks, shocked. Klaus, already drinking his, chuckles. We'll need plenty of this to get drunk, won't we? Klaus explains the alcohol is really weak. If it's kumis, it's fine to give a baby a sip or two. Even Aimer in her tiny mouse form enjoys a small bowl. Sanai and Ahan chime in, listing its benefits. Furthermore, it's effective in purifying diseases. Drinking kumis gives you strength, strong bones, and improves your bowel movement. Suddenly, it all clicks for Diaz. I see. For Aruna, this kumis is *alcohol, that's why she said it's good for you. He realizes their cultural differences were the source of their argument, as his idea of alcohol was much stronger, like grape wine. Diaz narrates that after the Kumi's incident, he and Aruna made a point to talk more. They took the time to understand each other's pasts and habits. This open atmosphere spread throughout the village, and soon, Diaz found himself connecting more with everyone. As the days went on, the community worked together, building their new home. While working in the fields, one of the village elders calls out to him. Just then Senai and Ahan rush over, their Miyas carrying large baskets. Look, we did it, we collected a lot today. Diaz smiles warmly. Wow, thanks Senai Ahan. He gives the two girls a proud pat on the head. Excited, they make a request. Hey, we want to build our own field. Diaz considers it. A field, I don't mind that, then let's build a small one next time. The girls are ecstatic. Since building it far away is dangerous, how about near the plaza, they suggest. Okay, thanks Diaz. As the sun sets, the workday ends. Alright, that'll be all for today, everyone, an elder announces. Diaz adds, good work. As people head home, a man approaches Diaz. Diaz-san, can I talk to you? It's Granny Celia, and she looks concerned. You see, she begins, there's something on my mind. That night under the stars, the villagers gather in the main hall to hear Granny Celia's proposal. Celia addresses the assembly. I'm happy to hear everyone's opinions, but I don't think our current system will work. It's fine now, but when our fief grows to 100 or 1,000 people, we won't be able to keep doing the same thing. Diaz mulls over her words, realizing she's right. It's a problem that everyone agrees without thinking too deeply. It's the same as not speaking their opinions. We have to plan for disagreements or it'll cause a fight. Celia suggests they choose representatives. Each group would elect one person to consolidate their opinions and bring them to Diaz, streamlining decisions and ensuring accountability. The idea is met with unanimous agreement, and they begin to hash out the details. The new system is established. Diaz remains the feudal lord with final authority. Aruna is chosen to represent the needs of Diaz's household and family. Klaus, vowing to protect the village's peace, becomes the representative for military and defense. And a reluctant Granny Maja agrees to speak on behalf of the human population. When they ask the knowledgeable Aimer to be the Jujin's representative, she politely but firmly refused. I'm still a newcomer, I'll have to decline. They decide that new groups like the expected dog folk will have to pick their own representative when they arrive. With the new governing structure decided, the late-night meeting finally comes to a close. The next morning, a new day dawns over the plains. Aruna gently shakes Diaz awake. Diaz, wake up, there's a visitor. Still half asleep, Diaz sits up. A visitor this early in the morning. Aruna's expression is serious. I was asleep, so I was late to notice. They've come very close to the village. I'll tell you while we're on the move, so let's go. They rush outside into the morning light. In the distance, a massive group is approaching. It's the dog folk, maybe, Aruna says, squinting. There's only one clear figure and it's a big one. There are also several smaller ones. Diaz tries to make sense of it. The small ones are the dog folk and the big one is a camelot or something. I don't know, Aruna replies, her voice tight with uncertainty. Maybe it's something they brought with them. As they get closer, the scene comes into terrifying focus. I can see it, Aruna gasps. It's not a peaceful arrival. A huge pack of small-sized dog folk are fleeing for their lives. From a monstrous, giant snake hot on their heels. The young woman leading the dog folk looks back in terror. Diaz and Aruna stop dead in their tracks, horrified. A large horde of dogs and a giant snake. What happened? The massive serpent hisses, its maw wide. Aruna recognizes the beast instantly. That's a Rick anaconda, it's a monster. What? Diaz exclaims. But I didn't hear they'd be bringing a monster, Aruna yells back. Of course not, they are being chased. A sudden, sickening realization hits Aruna. Diaz thinks the same thing in a panic. This is bad, I left my bow and arrow. The Rick anaconda towers over the terrified dog folk. It lunges down towards the pack. Diaz watches, his face a mask of grim determination. The snake snaps its jaws shut, swallowing one of the larger dogs whole. The others scatter, crying out in terror. This is bad, one of them got eaten. Someone help us, they plead. Without hesitation, Diaz sprints towards the monster. Diaz, stop, Aruna screams, knowing they're completely unarmed. But her cries are lost as Diaz closes the distance. The snake turns its attention to the new threat. Before it can strike, Diaz is upon it. He slams a powerful fist into the side of the monster's head. Ignoring the danger, he grabs the snake's massive jaws. With a roar of effort, he begins to pry them apart. Muscles straining, he forces the beast's mouth open wider and wider. Then, in an incredible feat of strength, Diaz heaves the entire Rick anaconda into the air, preparing to throw it. With a roar of pure adrenaline, Diaz hefts the entire weight of the giant snake over his head. And with a brutal display of strength, he hurls the monster across the plains, sending it crashing into the distance. Aruna rushes forward, screaming his name, Diaz. But Diaz just stands there, wiping a bit of sweat from his brow, letting out a casual sigh of relief. Aruna is not having it. Don't phew, me, she yells. Fighting a monster unarmed is completely absurd. It's a good thing Rick anacondas aren't poisonous. Diaz can only offer a meek apology. Ignoring the scolding for a moment, Diaz rushes over to the dog that was spat out. Hey, are you okay? Aruna watches him, her anger softening as she sees his genuine concern. Miraculously, the dog pops up, covered in slime but otherwise unharmed. Thank goodness you're alive, I thought I was a goner. Aruna blames herself, thinking, it was my fault. I didn't bring my bow, I'm letting my guard down. As the dust settles, the newcomers finally approach. A young woman steps forward, looking relieved. Thank you, the big snake found us on our way here, but thanks to you everyone is safe. What's your name? Aruna steps up, introducing her husband first. This is Diaz, my husband and the feudal lord of this fief. I'm Aruna. The woman's eyes widen in recognition. Ah, so it's you. My name is Cannies. I'm the caretaker for the small-sized dog folk and I'm leading them here today. She gestures to the massive group of dogs behind her, the new emigrants to their village. She points out the first group. The black-haired ones are the Tibetan Mastiff clan, or Mastiffs for short. They're incredibly brave and proud of their strength. Next are the tea-haired Basenji, or Senji. They're known for being very serious and a bit too straight-laced. And finally, the black and white Orson Shep, or Sheps. They're a clan that's brimming with curiosity and just loves to move. Clan names are very important to them, Cannies stresses, so please remember them properly. Diaz and Aruna take in this new information. Aruna, meanwhile, is doing a quick soul scan. She thinks to herself, Cannies is light blue, innocent, but the small-sized dogs, every single one of them is strong blue. Diaz is surprised by this revelation. Cannies leans in with an important warning. I forgot to tell you something crucial. The small-sized love to work. They must * work or they'll get stressed. Is that all right, Diaz-san? All the dogs look up at Diaz, their eyes full of hope and anticipation. Diaz thinks for a moment, a plan already forming in his mind. He addresses the eager crowd. You can help build a reservoir, feed the cattle, and I'm wondering if any of you would want to become fief soldiers. You do night watch and train with Klaus. You can take on any job you want, I don't mind. And if there's something else you'd like to do, I'll do my best to make it happen. The dogs erupt in a frenzy of joyful barks and wagging tails. They're getting to work. Diaz laughs, trying to settle the excited crowd. Hey, calm down now, don't make a fuss. And just like that they fall silent, listening intently. Diaz is impressed by their discipline, thinking, they listened to me while I talked. Then Diaz does something unexpected. Cannies watches, surprised. Aruna looks on as well. He kneels down to speak to them at their level. I'm the feudal lord of this plains, Diaz, it's nice to meet you all. Aruna follows his lead, kneeling beside him. Cannies watches in disbelief. He's speaking to the dog folk as equals, but he's a human feudal lord. This man is unusual. The gesture of respect works. One by one, the chiefs of the three clans step forward. They're ready to introduce themselves. The clan chiefs approach their new lord. I am Murph, chief of the Tibetan Mastiffs, the large dog says formally. It is an honor to meet you, Diaz-sama. My clan will work hard as soldiers. Nice to meet you, Murph, Diaz replies with a friendly fist bump. And you can drop the formalities, speak to me freely. Next up is Cedrio of the Basenji. Nice to meet you, we want to get to work as soon as possible, building the reservoir or doing any daily chores. Nice to meet you, Cedrio, we could definitely use the help with chores. The third chief, however, is a ball of pure chaotic energy. Diaz looks on, a bit bewildered. The little dog wags its tail furiously. It suddenly dashes forward. Panicking with excitement, Diaz is taken aback by the sudden burst of energy. The dog frantically tries to give Diaz a stick. I'm RIHERTGORDFULNYADHI Chef Orson SHEP. My name's too long, so just call me Chef. We want to look after the horses. Are there any sheep? Please leave all the animal care to us Sheps. Nice to meet you, Chef, Diaz says, amused. We don't have sheep, but we have something similar called mias. I take care of them, but I'm counting on you with the horses. He's genuinely happy to have them. Aruna then formally greets the dogs. I'm Diaz's wife, Aruna. It's nice to meet you. I'll be counting on you. The dogs are immediately smitten, thinking, she's a beauty, a beautiful young wife. The compliments aren't lost on Aruna, who blushes under their admiring gazes while Diaz sweats nervously. With the introductions over, the new population count is tallied. 30 Sheps, 25 Basenji, and 23 Mastiffs. But as they walk back, Cannies voices her concern. Diaz-san, are you serious? Enlisting them as soldiers, they can't even hold weapons. They're weak, they have no strength, it's impossible. Diaz understands her worry. I was told about this. Cannies is worried about them. How should I explain my plan to her? Later, as they walk through the village, they spot Klaus on patrol. Diaz waves him over. Good work, Klaus, Diaz calls out. Klaus returns the greeting and asks who Cannies is. I'll introduce you, this is Kanny-san, the caretaker for the dog clan. Kanny-san, this is our territorial soldier, Klaus. Nice to meet you, Kanny-san, Klaus says with a friendly smile. Kanny's replies, yes, nice to meet. But as their eyes meet, something sparks. At that moment, a drama completely unrelated to the main story begins. Aruna, ever perceptive, picks up on the vibe instantly. Diaz, on the other hand, is completely oblivious. Back in Ilk village, life with the dog folk is settling into a new normal. The local grannies are already putting them to work, asking, what do you want to do today? Cut your hair, embroidery. Meanwhile, Senai and the other kids are escorted by the adult mastiffs to the meadow to gather special stones. These aren't just any rocks, they're basically magical fertilizer. Root stones for strong roots, leaf stones for lush leaves, and fruit stones for a big harvest. You need all three for a tree to thrive. 10 days have passed since the dog folk arrived, and they've become a vital part of the village, even figuring out the well system. Diaz watches them, a sense of satisfaction on his face. They've integrated seamlessly, using the knowledge passed down from their parents about the stones. Diaz watches as they work. We're on brush duty today, he remarks with a smile. The dog folk have already cultivated their own field, impressing everyone. Seeing the adults work, a Chibai Klaus totters nearby shouting, I also want to do that. Kanny's had been worried about their capabilities, but her fears were completely unfounded. Far from being clumsy, the dog folk are incredibly skilled, whether it's farming, grooming horses, or even using chopsticks. To test their limits, Klaus begins a training exercise. He stands in the middle of a field and yells, all right, Group 1, come at me all at once. Diaz and Kanny's watch from the sidelines, curious to see how this plays out. In an instant, the mastiffs explode into action, charging him from all sides. They move with terrifying speed and coordination, a blur of fur and muscle. Even Diaz's eyes widen in surprise at their perfect teamwork. One dog folk goes low, grabbing Klaus's leg to stop his movement. Another swoops in from above, aiming for his weapon. Before Klaus can even react, he's completely surrounded and overwhelmed. One of the mastiffs playfully gnaws on his collar, signaling their victory. Klaus is pinned to the ground, completely immobilized by the pack. He laughs, admitting defeat. You got me, the mastiff pants happily, replying, your reactions are improving each day. Diaz and Kanny's are stunned. This isn't just any soldier they took down. Klaus is a war hero, a fearless fighter known as Klaus of 10 Necks for his skill in taking down enemy generals. And this pack of dog folk managed to beat him in just 10 days. Diaz turns to Kanny's, recalling her anxiety about making the dog folk into soldiers. He explains to Klaus, so, I was worried about how to explain it. I decided not to explain it. I thought it'd be better for her to see it personally. Diaz's logic was simple. The enemy's military had given them hell during the war. So, a group of intelligent adults with the instincts and abilities of dogs would be an unparalleled asset. He smiles, satisfied. This goes well beyond my expectations. Klaus chimes in, there's no one who would attack a meadow though, probably only robbers from the outskirts. Diaz looks out over the peaceful village. If the excellent dog folk are like this, I think there is not much to worry about. But while peace reigns in the meadow, a dark plot is brewing elsewhere. Deep within the Sans Serif kingdom. In the deepest part of the founding king's tomb, a royal is up to no good. Surrounded by glittering treasure, third Princess Diane addresses her knights. Needless to say, she commands, don't you dare touch the coffin or statue. A knight confirms the plan, the treasures in this tomb will be used as war funds. Another adds, take in moderation and keep it in your bags. But the moment their backs are turned, Diane makes a mad dash past them. She ignores her own order and runs straight towards the 3 sacred statues at the heart of the tomb. With a determined grunt, she rips a legendary dragon-headed scepter from the stone hands of the central statue. A wicked, ambitious glint shines in her eye. Her loyal knight Prynesia looks on in confusion. Diane-sama, what are you planning to do with that scepter? Diane holds the scepter aloft, a smug grin on her face. Isn't it obvious? The founding king of this country was said to have burnt 10,000 enemies with this scepter. I'm going to be a legend this time. She lays out her insane plan. First, I'll kill that liar Diaz. Then, I'll assemble an army using his wealth, attack my bothersome siblings, and take over this country. Seeing Prynesia's shock, she tries to reassure her. Don't worry, Prynesia. I also have a secret plan. She reveals a glowing crest. That is the king's seal. Her rant continues, fueled by pure entitlement. That man named Diaz. I was supposed to play a major role in the war, but he ended it without my permission. He wouldn't even accept my merciful proposal. She screams, completely unhinged. If you're a person who holds the same saint's name, you're supposed to cooperate with me unconditionally. She then parrots lies she's been fed. Moreover, according to that man, Diaz massacred innocent people in the previous war. He was praised as a patriot hero with his false achievements. I'll show the world true justice by getting revenge on that traitor. But Prynesia has heard enough, thinking, this person is hopeless, I have to hurry. As Diane continues her tirade, Phrynesia slips away into the darkness, her mind made up. I have to report this to Richard Sama. But someone else was listening in from the shadows. It's Dealist, who chuckles to himself. Haha, are you serious? Who would have thought royalty would be easier to trick than Jujin? Stupid people with power are really uncontrollable. A sinister smile spreads across his face as he hatches his own scheme. But this is a chance. If I attack Diane after she attacks Diaz, I might prove myself superior to my parents who threw me away. He throws his head back and laughs maniacally. Won't I be the country's hero this time? Meanwhile, back at the royal palace. Beneath glittering chandeliers. The court is abuzz with chatter. Suddenly, the grand doors swing open. The nobles turn to see who has arrived. It's first Prince Richard, who walks in with a grim expression. The person who infiltrated Diane's group has returned. In a private meeting, his advisors are in disbelief. That idiot raided the founding king's tomb, one whispers. Another advises caution, but we don't need to intervene this time. Richard agrees. I won't make it in time to track and kill her. Even if I do, there's a risk of running into Diaz. An advisor connects the dots. Does this have something to do with your previous command to never get involved with Diaz? Richard confirms, yes. With a steely gaze, he explains, he is worthy of being called a mad dog. It's foolish to take a risk by getting too close. I have no doubt that Diane will be bitten and lose her life. Richard decides it's time his council understood the truth about the man his sister is about to provoke. Diaz has two varied names. He's known as the Patriot Hero and the Bloody Axe, a champion for the commoners. But he's also called No Balls and Good-Natured, Richard explains, and for some reason these two have their own origins. He begins a flashback to the war, a time of fire and chaos. A royal command was issued to all units, kill every enemy and plunder their territory thoroughly. It was an order for total retaliation. The soldiers were expected to be ruthless, to show no mercy. But Richard reveals the shocking truth. During the war, Diaz never once killed the enemy. Richard continues, explaining that during the war, whether Diaz was with the royal army or acting separately with his own volunteer soldiers, there was never a single instance of massacre or looting under his command, not once. This is the origin of one of his nicknames, the Good-Natured Diaz. But then Richard brings up another, seemingly contradictory title, No Balls. He smirks, clarifying that this nickname is completely wrong. The truth is, the No Balls Diaz was a man of unshakable righteousness. The story begins with the spoiled children of a certain noble who joined the army for one reason only, to loot and pillage on the battlefield. Their depravity knew no bounds. And the petty mischief they caused eventually reached the ears of Diaz, who happened to be stationed nearby. He finds them in a shack having assaulted and tied up a local woman. To them, this was just a common part of war. A minor matter. The woman they victimized flees the scene in terror. Diaz steps into the room, his shadow falling over the cowering noble. His voice is cold and low. Why did you do this? The young noble, arrogant and defiant, sneers back. Because she was beautiful, I covered her eyes, didn't I? That woman should be grateful. Diaz's expression hardens, his patience utterly gone. With a thunderous stomp, he brings his foot down on the noble. The ground cracks under the force of the blow. For raising his hand against nobility, Diaz was immediately arrested and set to face trial in the royal court, while the noble brat screams in agony. At his hearing, Diaz's defense was simple and devastating. My parents taught me that nobles exist to protect the country and the weak. If that's the case, then those idiots can't be nobles. There were no nobles in that room, he declared. His words resonated. Influential people defended him, and when the king heard the story, he praised Diaz, saying he did the right thing. The case was dismissed without a trial. Back in the present, Richard leans back. No remorse, no punishment. The problem with Diaz is that he doesn't consider a noble as a noble. If he wanted to, that mad dog could cut my head off and even my father's. That's the kind of man he is. He stares down his advisors with a final, chilling command. Never get involved with him, understand? One of the advisors, still unconvinced, speaks up. Pardon me, Your Highness, but I don't think even Diaz would raise his hand against royalty. We should still go after Diane Sama. Richard's eyes narrow. It makes sense if you know that Diaz has harmed a royal in the past. Is that not enough? His words land like a physical blow, stunning the entire room into silence. After hearing this revelation, the nobles present changed their minds completely, deciding to never cross Diaz. The meeting was promptly dissolved. Richard lets out a weary sigh, the meeting having taken its toll. As the room clears, one of his retinue approaches, Richard Sama. The man, a member of the Commoners Guild, asks a pointed question. I'm a little curious. I heard the king liked Diaz a lot, so why did he banish him to the frontier? Richard's tone becomes sharp. How many times have I told you to change that tone, and your assumption is wrong? The man looks confused. Richard clarifies, my father didn't banish Diaz, he entrusted him with that meadow. That land is a border, the front line of our national defense. You send someone you trust to a place like that, wouldn't you? He continues, father trusted Diaz more than any other vassal, because Diaz cleaned up his mess every time he made a mistake. The man is intrigued. His mistake, really? Richard explains the history. Every time my father slipped up, failed diplomacy, a war that was about to ruin the country, Diaz appeared and played a decisive role, giving the kingdom enough advantages to cover our blunders. He kept doing that for 20 years. Diaz is my father's hero, his life-saver and his most trusted friend. But, Richard adds grimly, Diaz was dispatched to his post without any money or manpower. There's no concrete evidence yet, but it must have been the work of Mesa and the others. Father had prepared suitable people and supplies. I'm sure they interfered. Suddenly, a young woman with a ponytail raises her hand. Hey, Richard-sama, I also have a question. I've been curious for a while. Who is the royal that Diaz harmed? It can't be the king or queen. Was it you? No, that couldn't have happened, right? Richard's face twitches with annoyance. He pinches the bridge of his nose, clearly irritated by the question. The girl looks on, eager for the answer. Before Richard can speak, a masked woman beside him clears her throat, silencing the girl. An old general in the room listens intently. The masked woman begins, once upon a time, there was a spoiled boy who did whatever he wanted. One day he declared, I want to earn military glory on the battlefield myself, and departed as the commanding officer of a unit. But his inexperience showed. His unit was destroyed, and just when he thought he was about to die, surrounded by the enemy. A violent man rushed onto the scene, and single-handedly saved the boy. The masked woman pauses for dramatic effect, and then she reveals the punchline. That violent man was Diaz, and he immediately decked the young royal, yelling, Why did you do such a reckless and stupid thing? He swung his fist down with all his strength, she concludes with a smile, and they lived happily ever after. Richard touches his temple, a faint, pained smile on his face. That was the only time someone has ever beaten me up, even when I told him I was a member of the royal family. He even scolded me, Richard recalls. For the next 3 months I was placed under Diaz's care. He told me to take the pretend noble play home and that it's fine to want to be a king, but don't be so reckless. The masked woman adds, thanks to that, Richard-sama is now known to be hardworking and sincere. He grew up to be a splendid person who doesn't discriminate. That's another advantage Diaz has given us. Richard scoffs lightly. Even without him, I would have changed my mind when I saw the state of this country. His expression turns serious as he thinks of the kingdom's future. Diaz may have increased my lifespan, but the lifespan of this country will continue to decrease if the people at the top are incompetent. Before they bring about our downfall, we must overcome them. He turns to the man from the Commoners' Guild, holding out a heavy pouch of coins. In order to do that, I need your help. The man takes the pouch. We're going to track and kill her, aren't we? Richard's gaze is firm. Yes, before Diane comes into contact with Diaz, bring me her and the king's seal. He then places a second, smaller pouch in the man's hands. The man is stunned. This is too much. Are you paying the contingency fee in advance? Richard sits at his desk, a thoughtful look on his face. If you ever get close to Diaz, give that to him. It wouldn't be funny if the man who didn't die from the rumored curse of the meadow died of starvation. Meanwhile, far away in Ilk village, Diaz enjoys a peaceful dinner completely unaware. Aruna laughs, drink it slowly, as the kids point out, Diaz, you have a white beard on you again. Elsewhere in a dark and lonely room, Princess Diane is having a complete meltdown. Even Phrynesia abandoned me, she screams into the emptiness. Why is it always like this? Why won't anyone acknowledge me? I didn't do anything wrong. I'm supposed to be doing the right thing. I have the blood of the royal family. A sinister laugh echoes from the shadows. Diane's eyes widen in surprise. Dealist emerges, his voice dripping with false sympathy. Yes, the one in the right is me. Holding the dragon scepter, her resolve hardened by his manipulation, Diane makes a vow. I will rule this country. At that very instant, back at the dinner table, Diaz freezes, a sudden chill running down his spine. Aruna looks at him with concern. What's wrong, Diaz? He quickly shakes it off with a smile. Nothing, I just thought your food is delicious. But as he returns to his meal, a sense of approaching malice lingers in the air. In the fields of Diaz's domain, a training session takes a comical turn, as one of the mastiffs gets a little too excited. The massive dog accidentally bonks Klaus on the head, knocking him flat, but Klaus, ever the caretaker, is only worried about the dog. Are you okay? Sorry, I couldn't stop in time. As he promises to treat the mastiff, a concerned Canis rushes over, shouting, I'll bring the emergency kit. In that brief, chaotic moment, a subtle connection is made. Klaus's heart thumps in his chest, a blush creeping onto his face. Canis, seeing his gentle nature, is completely starstruck. But just as quickly the moment passes, they both turn away, an unspoken tension hanging between them. Klaus's thoughts race. I'm a human, so to be with Canis-san, who's a demi-human, is. While Canis is burdened by her own duty, I'm the eldest daughter of the dog tribe, I shouldn't be with other tribes. Their feelings and their duties are in direct conflict, and yet, despite the walls between them, something continues to grow. Meanwhile, life in the burgeoning territory moves forward. Diaz atop his horse gives the order, "All right, Cedrio, raise the wooden board." The Basenji named Cedrio grips the lever with his teeth and heaves it up. With the sluice gate open, water begins to pour into the channel. It flows into a massive, newly dug reservoir, a testament to their hard work. Diaz thinks to himself, it was worthwhile to persist for many days. The onlookers cheer at the sight. The dog folk erupt in celebration. The reservoir is complete. Diaz stands proudly with his horse, Bayers, reflecting on their progress. Before I realized it, summer was approaching. We managed to complete the reservoir just in time, thanks to the dog folk. The crops in the field are growing well, and the fruits planted in Senai and Ahan's garden have also started to bud. He turns to his horse, a content look on his face. We need to have plenty of water stored in the reservoir. Diaz sighs, Bayers, it's finally done. I want to just stand here and see it for a while, but his horse neighs impatiently. I see, I can't, Aruna's voice explains the situation. I'm not very good at horse riding, but it wouldn't make sense if a meadow feudal lord couldn't ride, right? And so, I was partly forced to accept Bayers. There are 3 other horses, Carbellin, Grai, and Shah. Everyone else rode them with a skill that I couldn't even begin to compare with. Diaz continues his stroll with the temperamental horse. He thinks about their unique bond. Bayers and the others are very smart. They understand a certain amount of language, though not as well as Francis and the others. He often plays pranks, but I don't mind at all. It's normally like this, but if I get on him now, he'll match my pace, even though I'm bad at riding. Their walk takes them to a small handmade sign. It reads Senai Ahan's garden. And there, in the middle of the garden, the 2 girls are fast asleep, surrounded by snoozing meows and dog folk who stand guard even in their dreams. As they sleep, they murmur softly for the parents they lost. Mama, Papa. Diaz watches over them, his expression softening with affection. It's a moment of pure peace in the world he's trying to build. He adjusts Bayers' bridle, whispering, What's wrong, Bayers? Do you want to sleep with them too? The horse seems to consider it, shifting its weight. But the tranquility is suddenly broken by the sound of frantic wing beats. Diaz looks up, his calm demeanor vanishing instantly. Grant, the pigeon folk messenger, descends in a panic. Diaz-sama, Diaz catches him, asking, What's wrong? You're in such a hurry, Grant. The messenger bird pants, urgency in his voice. It's urgent news from Eldon-sama, please check and reply at once. The message details events from a few days ago. Princess Diane, accompanied by a host of heavily armed soldiers, had arrived in Castex territory. As royalty, she forced a meeting with the feudal lord, Eldon. With a smug grin, she revealed her chilling purpose. I came to kill Diaz and steal his property. She then requested Eldon's full cooperation. When Eldon tried to carefully refuse, Diane slammed a scroll onto the table. This is the king's decree. The decree ordered Eldon to cooperate with Diane in destroying the rebel Diaz, providing military force, funds, and provisions, and to give all spoils of war to her. Eldon knew instantly that the contents were a complete fabrication. But there was one undeniable problem, the king's seal. Eldon's eyes widened in disbelief. The document was a fake, but the seal, which only the king could possess, made it legally real. He was trapped. Playing for time, Eldon put on a smile. I'd like to discuss this with my vassals as it involves military affairs. Diane reluctantly agreed, allowing Eldon to escape an immediate answer. While Diane and her soldiers were distracted with lavish hospitality, Eldon was fuming. He gathered his most trusted advisors in a secret meeting. His rage was palpable. Deal with her followers by any means possible. They've got to be joking, as if I'm going to cooperate with such a foolish princess. But one of his advisors, a rabbit woman, urged caution. I'm aware of your feelings, but this is an important time for you. Please think about the future and act carefully. Eldon knew she was right, but his loyalty was clear. I'll never harm my best friend Diaz. Besides, he succeeded where no one else could. That meadow could transform into a granary and my own fiefdom would benefit. I can't abandon him. The council was split. Eldon's position was to dispose of Diane and the fake decree entirely, but others feared the consequences for their own future. They were at an impasse. Finally, one of his vassals spoke up. Eldon-sama, before we make a conclusion, what is Diaz-sama's intention? Eldon looked towards the sky. I've already sent Grant. If all goes well, I should have a reply by the end of the day. The rabbit woman agreed. Let's stop the discussion until then. I have my own thoughts from a letter I received from that girl Cannies. If Diaz don't know. Before she could finish, a frantic flapping of wings interrupted the meeting. Grant had returned, collapsing onto the floor from sheer exhaustion. Grant, Eldon cried out. Helping the messenger, Eldon said, Great work, I was just talking about you, so what did Diaz say? Grant, still catching his breath, gestured to the letter. Ha, you've received the letter, I'll take it and look that way. Eldon unrolled the small piece of paper, his brow furrowed in concentration. The other council members watched, holding their breath. As Eldon read the reply, his face contorted in utter shock. Huh. A wave of chatter spread through the room. A lion beastman leaned over to the exhausted messenger. Hey, what was written in that letter? You're in the intelligence crew, you must have gotten a peek. Grant sighed, delivering the unbelievable news. He wrote, cooperate with Diane as the king's letter states. Back in Castex, Grant, the pigeon messenger, lets out a weary sigh. His news sends a shockwave through Eldon's council. Every single one of them is utterly stunned, their faces a mix of horror and disbelief. A collective gasp of huh echoes from the feudal lord's residence. Meanwhile, back at Diaz's camp, the mood is heavy with unspoken tension. Cannes approaches Klaus, her expression serious. Klaus Dono, what did you want to talk about with me? Klaus looks at her, his gaze filled with a heavy resolve. Everyone already knows this, but Diaz-sama and I will depart for the front tomorrow. Her eyes widen in shock as he continues, we might die. That's why before that, I wanted to tell you my feelings, Cannes-san. Taking a deep breath, Klaus pours his heart out, his voice ringing with sincerity. I love you, I really, really love you. Cannes turns away, her arms crossed as she struggles with her own emotions. Klaus-sama, I only wanted you to know. But she can't hold it in, she whips back around, tears in her eyes. Hey Klaus, me too, I also yearn for you, ever since the first day we met I've always felt this way. Klaus explains the harsh reality they face. You're the eldest daughter of the dog tribe, to be with me, someone from another tribe. Tears stream down Cannes' face as she cries, it doesn't matter what anyone says. Klaus looks on, his heart aching for her, even so Overwhelmed by their shared feelings, Cannes can only look at him through her tears. In that moment, all barriers fall away, as Klaus pulls her into a tight embrace. Watching from a distance, Senai and Ahan are confused. Are they fighting? Klaus holds Cannes close, whispering, I'm sorry, because I don't have enough resolve, I made it hard for you. Aruna gently reassures the girls, they're not fighting, it's fine. In the background, Klaus makes a solemn vow. I promise I'll definitely come back alive, I'll live. As they part, Cannes clutches her chest, her voice choked with tears. Klaus-sama, I'll wait for you in this village forever. The other dog folk rush towards a sobbing Cannes, utterly confused as Klaus walks away into the distance. The night passes, filled with promises and heartache. The sun rises on a new day. A day of war. In the vast, empty meadow, two figures stand ready, clad in armor. Diaz looks out towards the horizon, his face grim. I guess it's war. Klaus lowers his spyglass, his expression equally serious. Yes, he confirms, the clang of his armor echoing in the silence. It is. Diaz begins to narrate the situation. 5 days have passed since Eldon's letter. Before them stand about 50 heavily armed soldiers led by the Princess Diane. And facing them, just Diaz and Klaus. Diaz continues his assessment. Eldon commands around 1,000 troops, 200 of them lightly armed, the exact numbers from the letter. Hiding in the tall grass are their secret weapons, 10 mastiffs under Murph's command, all ready for action. Perched on Diaz's shoulder is Amer, the tiny but crucial communicator. Our total fighting power is 12 people, including me and Klaus, Diaz concludes. The mastiffs are geared up in special equipment of Klaus's own design. The dragon fang battle mask and dragon scale mantle, forged from the remains of an earth dragon, tough enough to shatter stone. Klaus looks at the opposing army, concerned. They certainly have a lot of fighters, wouldn't it be better to request reinforcements from the Oni tribe, or at least take Aruna-sama? Diaz shakes his head. The Oni have their own village to protect, and Aruna has a critical role, to hide everyone with her concealment magic if things go wrong. This can't be helped. Klaus sighs, understanding the logic. Certainly. He adds, I wish Eldon at least was on our side though. Diaz smirks slightly. Eldon probably told them, even if it's fake, the king's letter must be obeyed. But since he's been sending me inside information, he's in a delicate situation. That's why I suspect that massive army is actually a force to protect us in an emergency. Klaus looks to him for confirmation. Anyway, is the strategy as we planned? Diaz nods. In my reply, I told him to prioritize your safety and your population's safety. I hope he read that properly. Yes, Diaz says as Amer listens in. We'll go with the plan, guide them to pitfalls while we run, separate Eldon and Diane's armies, then eliminate only Diane with a surprise attack. But Diaz has another layer to his plan. In his mind he thinks, yes, this is a removal. He knows the dog tribe has marked the locations of all the hidden pits. I don't know if this will succeed, but I have no other good ideas. If this doesn't work, he thinks, glancing towards his loyal horse waiting in the rear, I plan to charge alone with Bayers. But I'll keep this a secret from everyone. Diaz's resolve is absolute. They had the option to simply flee, as their yurts and carriages are easy to rebuild. But that option would require us to abandon the field which Senai and Ahan poured their love into. That field had become the girls' salvation, giving them a purpose that stopped their nightly tears for their lost parents. It was their moral support. If they ruined that field, He pictures the girls, heartbroken and lost once more. The image of them crying over their dying plants flashes in his mind. Diaz grips his weapon, his knuckles white. As the fief lord, as their family, I have to protect them. Suddenly Aimer gets his attention. Diaz-san, what's that? In the distance, among the enemy ranks, stands a large, ornate bell. It's an imposing, antique structure. That is the battle bell, Diaz explains. It's an antique used to convey instructions with its chimes, but if the enemy knows your signals, they can use it to cause chaos. Just then, a soldier begins to ring the bell with furious intensity. Klaus flinches at the sudden, deafening noise. Diaz's eyes widen in alarm. The clanging continues, echoing across the plains. Diaz grits his teeth. The repeated strikes are the signal of the whole army's advance. When the sound stops, they'll start running. The sound finally ceases, leaving a ringing silence. Diaz stares in disbelief. Are you going to attack? Are you going to advance? He yells across the field, baffled by their strategy. You'll run out of breath if you run this distance in that equipment. What on earth are you planning? But his words are lost as Diane's forces begin their charge. Diaz raises his weapon, shouting to his small team. Stay alert, don't let the enemy advance, observe the situation. The battle has begun. This is a credits page and is not part of the story. This is a credits page and is not part of the story. This is a credits page and is not part of the story. This is a credits page and is not part of the story. This is a credits page and is not part of the story. The decisive battle against Diane begins. The war bell clangs, then falls silent. Klaus shouts a warning to his small band of warriors. The bell has stopped, they're going to attack, prepare yourselves everyone. A wall of steel, Diane's armored soldiers, begins its relentless advance. The odds are beyond stacked. Eldon's army numbers 1,000 with 200 mercenaries and Diane's personal guard of 50. Against this massive force stands Diaz's crew, of only 12. Diaz and his loyal mastiffs stand their ground, ready for the inevitable clash. The enemy army charges forward, their footsteps like thunder. Diaz narrows his eyes, bracing for the impact. But then something strange happens. The charging soldiers suddenly halt their advance. Confusion ripples through their ranks as they stop and mutter amongst themselves. Watching from a distance, Diaz is baffled. They stopped. Klaus peers through his spyglass, trying to make sense of the chaos. Diaz-sama, I can't read their next move at all. The right and left wings aren't moving and only the center is attacking. What a bizarre tactic. He spots a lone soldier running frantically across the field. One of Diane's underlings ran from the left wing to the right. Is he a messenger? A realization dawns on Diaz. What is this? I can't comprehend their strategy, unless it's not a strategy at all. Meanwhile, far from the front lines, Lord Eldon is calmly being served a cup of tea. One of Diane's furious commanders storms towards him. Eldon Dono, the soldier screams. What are you planning? Didn't you hear the instruction to break through the whole army? Eldon simply smiles, taking a delicate sip. I'm having tea right now. The commander is utterly speechless. Huh. Eldon continues, completely unbothered. I'm having my very important tea time. It was written in my father's will, no matter when, I hope you won't miss the taste of tea like a true noble. That's why having tea is currently more important than moving the army, he declares with a grin. The soldier explodes. Are you planning to defy the king's will for such a reckless reason? I'm properly obeying it, Eldon retorts coolly. With provisions, funds, weapons, and military force, I've contributed more than enough. He dismisses the soldier's urgency. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's enough to have only the elites over there. There are only 2 enemies. It's shameless to move 1,000 people against just 2. As the soldier fumes, Eldon delivers the final blow. Even so, if you tell me to move my army, you should still have the courtesy to wait until my tea time is over to request help. He takes a final leisurely sip. He then places the empty cup down with a soft tap. Seconds please, he asks his servant, who bows immediately. Please wait, I'll brew a new one. Elsewhere on the battlefield, another faction is having second thoughts. The mercenary captain scratches his head in frustration. I thought it was weird, the pay was good, but no one wanted to take this job. He sighs, realizing the truth. Who would have thought that the princess's target was Diaz? She can fight her own battles. He turns to his men and gives a single, decisive command. Withdraw. One of his men questions the order. Is it fine, Captain? The captain doesn't hesitate. If I lay a hand on Diaz, I'll make an enemy of soldiers all around the country. He saved a lot of their lives during the war. Moreover, he's the hero who protected this country. You know the old-timers in this business respect that kind of duty, right? His men murmur in agreement. Besides, he adds, I don't know why, but Duke Kazdex's army hasn't moved either. If anyone still wants to fight, they can do whatever they want. His men are convinced. Well, if the captain says so, we also have to think about the future. They sheath their weapons and turn to leave. One of Diane's men runs up, panicked. What are you doing? Attack at once. The mercenary captain simply tosses him a bag of coins. I'll pay you back, bye. The soldier is left screaming in disbelief, as the entire mercenary force abandons the field. From his vantage point, Klaus observes the sudden withdrawal. He reports back to Diaz. For some reason, the soldiers are starting to withdraw. As for Eldon, he's stalling for time by drinking tea, as expected of him. At any rate, it looks like Diane's strategy didn't work. Diaz watches the remaining, disorganized soldiers approach. Are those pitiful soldiers the only ones heading here? Judging by their appearance, they're poorly directed and their skills are low. He sighs, a hint of pity in his voice. It'd be nice if they would withdraw at once. Klaus smirks. That might wake those fools up. Diaz hefts his massive axe. Let's change our strategy. First, we intercept Diane and the others here, beat everyone up, take their weapons, and render them powerless. Klaus and the Mastiff stand ready, trusting Diaz completely. Diaz looks at the tiny creature nestled in his hair. Aimer, cover your ears. He takes a deep, powerful breath and unleashes a thunderous roar that reverberates across the entire battlefield, a wave of pure intimidation. The sound echoes through the sky. Back at the village, Canis hears the distant sound and smiles. What a great cheer, yes. Aruna stands with the other dog folk. If Diaz says not to attack them, then we'll take care of it. It's also an important job as a wife to support her husband on the battlefield. She rallies her troops. We, the Iluk Village Women's Association, will do our best, yes. In a quiet tent, divination stones are cast. Granny Maya performs a ritual to foresee the outcome of the battle. She studies the results with a focused gaze. Cedrio the Basenji reads the stones aloud. Safety, treasure, good news, distinguished service, Echo. I'm a bit curious about Echo, but I'm relieved at this result. The other elders of the village wait anxiously outside. Maya-sama, they call out, how was it? Granny Maya emerges with a reassuring smile. They are fine, there's no need to worry. A wave of relief washes over the crowd. Ah, I'm glad, Maya-sama's fortune-telling has never been wrong. Thank you, Maya-sama, they say, their faith in her and their warriors unwavering. As the battle rages, others are watching. From a safe distance, Eldon and his retainer Camelots observe through binoculars. Camelots, Eldon asks, how would you rate their fighting style? Camelots lowers his binoculars, clearly impressed. Well. What surprised me the most about Diaz-sama is his bottomless stamina and tremendous physical strength. Even when he's going easy to avoid killing, a single blow is devastating. It frightens me to think what he could do if he was being serious. And Klaus Dono is truly splendid, covering all the gaps and expertly guiding enemies right into Diaz-sama's path. They're a perfect duo. Watching from afar, Camelots is impressed. The small species also amaze me. I can't believe they can fight this well. Eldon agrees, admitting, it's true, they're small, clumsy, and instinctive. We've underestimated them. Eldon looks down with a hint of shame. Honestly, this is pathetic even for me. Back on the battlefield, the clash of steel rings out as Diaz's small but mighty crew holds the line against overwhelming odds. In the thick of it, Klaus's resolve is unbreakable. A vision of Canis flashes in his mind, fueling his determination. I promised her, he thinks, I won't die, I'll definitely return alive. But as he focuses on his promise, an enemy soldier slips past his guard, raising his sword for a fatal blow. The blade slices through the air. Suddenly, a roar cuts through the din of battle. Klaus, Diaz yells, his voice a thunderclap of warning. Snapped back to reality, Klaus spins and smacks the soldier away with the butt of his spear. Did you call me Diaz-sama? He shouts, then immediately points to the ground. There is a snake near your foot, be careful. Diaz glances down. Whoa, you're right, it's dangerous. Meanwhile, the soldier who almost got him grumbles, I'm almost done here, so don't be careless. Miles away from the actual fighting, Diane watches her entire strategy crumble from horseback. She grits her teeth, her face twisting in pure rage. Finally she snaps, problems just keep coming, why won't they listen to me? She stands up in her stirrups, screaming at her disorganized troops. I'm a noble, shut up and follow me. Her knuckles turn white as she grips the legendary scepter, trying to draw out its power. Founding King's power, huh, she shrieks. Nothing is happening with this piece of wood, where has the power of the legend gone? Suddenly, something smacks her hand with a sharp crack. The priceless scepter is knocked from her grasp, tumbling into the tall grass. Diane stares in disbelief. Wah! An arrow-like projectile zips past her face. The shock sends her toppling from her horse with a shriek. Scrambling to her feet, she looks around wildly. What is this? Where in the world did it come from? The answer rises from the grass. Aruna, bow drawn, flanked by the very determined Dog Folk Women's Association. Aruna-sama, one asks, she's the boss of those bad people, right? What should we do? Bite her, bark at her. Aruna calmly gives her orders. I want you to retrieve the horse and that strange-looking stick. I'll drive that woman out of this meadow and into Eldon's eastern forest. She gives one of the dogs a reassuring pat. The concealment magic will wear off when you leave me. Stay away from the enemy, all right. With her squad on cleanup duty, Aruna turns her attention to the fleeing noble. Her expression hardens, a predator's glint in her eyes, and, so that she won't ever do this kind of thing again. I'll engrave in her a warning through fear. The hunt begins. Diane flees through the dark woods, her heart pounding in her chest. An arrow whistles past her ear, embedding itself in a tree just inches from her head. She screams in terror. Looking back, she sees the silhouette of her hunter, a terrifying specter in the trees. Aruna knocks another arrow. It'd be faster and more reliable to kill her, but... She draws the bowstring taut, her aim steady. Diaz hates killing people. I don't know what to make of that feeling, however. Another arrow flies, grazing Diane's hair as she ducks with a cry. Aruna lowers her bow slightly. If it's a good person's wish, I'll just support him. Just as Diane scrambles to her feet, figures burst from the shadows, grabbing her and silencing her screams. From her vantage point, Aruna's eyes widen in surprise. The leader of the mysterious group holds the struggling Diane tight. Who would have thought I could meet the target here? I was told to secure you before you made contact with Diaz, but I'm glad you weren't killed. He produces a small seal. All right, the seal has been secured. We're late, but I'm sure Richard Sama will be satisfied with this. Diane continues to struggle uselessly in his grasp. One of his men grumbles, we were late because you were only touring the restaurants. The leader just waves him off. Whoosh, an arrow zips past the leader's head, thudding into a tree behind him. Instantly the men draw their swords, spinning around. Who is it? They stare into the dark, silent woods. The leader holds Diane as a shield. Why were we attacked? Who attacked us? He glances at the terrified noble in his arms. A sudden realization dawns on him. Don't tell me, she's still being chased by Diaz and the others. Panicking, he shouts into the empty forest. Please wait a minute, we're not Diaz-san's enemy, rather we're on his side. We came under orders of Richard Sama, he's Diaz-san's disciple, student. He fumbles for a pouch of gold, holding it up as a peace offering. Look, the gold coins Richard Sama prepared for Diaz-sama. I'll give you this, so please stop attacking us. I understand that you hate him, but it'll be much better for Diaz-san if he leaves this to Richard Sama. Please trust us. Silence is his only answer. He sweats, waiting for the unseen archer's judgment. The response is another arrow, flying straight and true. It doesn't hit him, but instead slices the rope on the coin purse, sending it flying from his hand. He gets the message loud and clear. All right, I'll give that bag to you too, do what you want. He throws down another, larger bag of gold. Let's go, he yells to his men, dragging Diane with him. And just like that, they vanish into the woods. Aruna emerges from the shadows, standing over the abandoned payment. She picks up a pouch, her brow furrowed in thought. Those guys, it looks like they're related to the orphans raised by Diaz, but the result of their soul appraisal is faintly red. How should I judge them? She decides to table the mystery for now. Well, let's just go back. I'll tell Diaz that Richard will do something about Diane's punishment. A soft smile touches her lips. He must also be tired from the battle. Should I make him something delicious? Her mind begins to wander. Or, should I take out the kodo and sing? Or... She imagines Diaz, exhausted after the fight, and herself giving him a well-deserved massage. Good work, Diaz, relax, leave it to me. Her imagination then takes a decidedly more intimate turn, causing the real Aruna to blush beet red. Completely flustered, she shakes the thoughts from her head and dashes back toward the village. In a panic, the readers cry out, GUIS, what should we do? Timeless is slow with new updates. But a calm voice cuts through the chaos. Simply visit our Discord and apply for one of the positions. The readers grab on, desperate, but we got no experience. The voice reassures them, that's okay. Even if you have no experience, you can still apply. The battle is over. A defeated soldier from Diane's army lies before Diaz, begging for his life. I lost. I surrender. Please spare me. Diaz looks down, his expression unreadable. There are many reasons why you lost. But above all, he explains, gesturing to the collapsed soldiers around them, you were too tired by the time you got here. Charging in all that heavy equipment was your first mistake. With the enemy completely routed, Diaz stands tall. He turns to his men, a proud smile on his face. Give a shout of victory, it's our win. Klaus surveys the scene, taking stock of their overwhelming victory. All the enemy soldiers had lost their will to fight and dropped their weapons. He confirms the outcome. We suffered no damage, everyone is uninjured. The enemy soldiers are slightly hurt, but there are no casualties. Despite the perfect victory, Diaz has one regret. I failed to catch Diane, the ringleader. I missed my chance to scold her, which is disappointing. Before he can finish his thought, a sharp pain erupts from his head as Aimer sinks her teeth into his scalp. Aimer is absolutely furious, not about the mission but about his methods. If you don't want to kill the enemy, then we had a pitfall trap. Why did you charge head-on? Who would take charge if you died? Wincing, Diaz tries to explain his simple-minded approach to battle. During the war, I had a comrade who was the self-proclaimed greatest tactician in the kingdom. I just left all the little details to him. Aimer stops her tirade, completely stunned by his answer. She's so shocked she nearly falls off his head. She can only sit there, speechless at his reckless honesty. Just then their post-battle debrief is interrupted by an approaching soldier, Disdono. It's Eldon arriving on horseback with his retainers. He waves, announcing, "I'm here to surrender and negotiate the release of prisoners of war." Diaz is taken aback. "Eldon, negotiate." Eldon quickly lays out the situation from his perspective. "This time we led an army into your territory without permission. By kingdom law, that's an invasion. Since Diane has disappeared, the authenticity of the king's will is uncertain. We must reconcile and surrender to you as soon as possible." Now sitting at a makeshift table, Diaz is still completely lost. "What are you talking about? Reconcile and—" Aimer, perched on his head, whispers into his ear. "Diaz-san, I think Eldon-sama wants the pretense of surrendered and reconciled for political reasons." The lightbulb finally goes on for Diaz. He smiles warmly at Eldon. "I understand. I'll accept the reconciliation. We were indebted to you this time anyway, so I don't mind you doing whatever you want." Diaz listens as Eldon explains his plan. "Thank you for your generosity," Eldon says. "I plan to meet His Majesty now. In doing so, this could become a bargaining chip." Diaz is impressed. "Negotiating with the king is amazing. Can a reconciliation with me really become a bargaining chip?" Eldon replies. "I don't know that yet. I'd simply prefer to increase the number of cards in my hand." Eldon's strategy is simple. The king himself is partly to blame for letting Diane steal the royal seal and act so rashly. This means Eldon and his men were dragged into a conflict they didn't want. Therefore, they can frame themselves as victims of the king's blunder, a position Eldon is determined to use to his full advantage. Diaz, not one for complex politics, just shrugs. "Yes, it was a difficult discussion. Well, you can do whatever you want with my name." Eldon beams with gratitude. "Thank you, Diaz-dono. Let me know if there's anything else I can do to help." Suddenly, Eldon's expression shifts as he notices something behind Diaz. Aimer's ears twitch, sensing a presence as well. Diaz turns confused as a familiar voice calls out. Someone is walking towards them through the tall grass. It's Aruna, looking pleased. "What great chivalry," she says with a smirk. "I mixed some medicinal herbs with stimulants into our breakfast. It seems like it was effective." Diaz and Eldon stare in disbelief. "Aruna," they exclaim. Eldon repeats, "medicinal herbs with stimulants." The realization hits Diaz. "Oh, that hurt." Aimer finally understands. "I thought it was weird that everyone didn't seem tired." Meanwhile, Klaus and the Mastiff simply feel a strange warmth coursing through their bodies. Diaz remembers asking Aruna about the herbs. She told him, "Maru told me that this is a medicinal herb that'll make you especially lively." He thinks back to when Aruna was assigned as his caretaker. "It's clear now. I felt Maru intended to bring us together by any means." With a grim smile, Diaz makes a mental note. "I'll make a firm complaint about this matter to Maru after this." Eldon, moving on, adds another piece of news. "That's right. When I chased Diane, I met a messenger of Richard, a child you raised, Diaz. I let him deal with that woman," he finishes with a confident glint in his eye. Aruna then presents Diaz with a heavy bag of coins. "This money was also prepared by Richard for you. He truly loves you, doesn't he?" Diaz racks his brain, muttering, "Richard, was there such a kid?" Eldon watches, a knowing look on his face. With so much to process, Diaz decides to wrap things up for the day. They hand over the prisoners to Eldon, receive various goods as compensation, and finally begin the journey home to Iluk village, their wagons heavy with the spoils of war. On the way back, Diaz notices something strange. The women of the dog tribes are carrying weapons and supplies. He turns to Aruna, who explains with a smile, "They're the Iluk Village Women's Association. I asked them to collect the spoils of war." He watches as the trained dogs and women efficiently gather the abandoned swords. Diaz recalls seeing Aruna meeting with the housewives, but he dismissed it. "I thought it was just a friendly meeting," he narrates. But in reality, Aruna had been training every member, passing on the essential knowledge of the women of the meadows. He turns to her, slightly annoyed. "Even though I told her to protect the village, it would have been nice if you told me." Aruna's face darkens. "I told you, you're the one who didn't listen to me." Caught off guard, Diaz can only stammer, "Really? Sorry." Diaz is left speechless by her sharp retort. Just then, one of the dogs trots over, carrying an ornate scepter in its mouth. It's one of the spoils from Diane's forces, a strange staff with a large gem. Diaz's eyes fix on the object, intrigued. He calls out to the dog, "Sorry, can you show me that stick?" Taking the scepter, he examines it closely. "What's that?" Aruna asks. Diaz senses something. "There are traces of magical power in that gem. Shall we put magical powers into it as a test?" Aruna takes the scepter, ready to try. She closes her eyes and channels her magic into the gem, causing it to glow brightly. But after the initial flash, the light fades. The scepter does nothing, it's completely silent. Aruna channels her magic into the gem, but nothing happened, she says, a little disappointed. Diaz takes a look. "It's just a regular gem," he concludes, unimpressed. But as Diaz takes the scepter into his own hands, something feels different. He's suddenly hit with a familiar sensation. This feeling, it's just like when I hold my battle axe, he thinks. Is it because of the magic Aruna just used? The gem on the scepter begins to glow intensely. Diaz's eyes widen. What is this feeling? A strange power starts to surge from the staff, resonating with him. And then, with a deafening roar, a massive pillar of fire erupts from the scepter, tearing through the night sky. Diaz is completely stunned by the insane display of power. Aruna stares in disbelief, her jaw on the floor. Klaus, Aimer, and the others are equally shocked by the sudden explosion of magic. The ornate dragon head on the staff seems to smolder, its power finally unleashed. Aruna is the first to break the silence, her eyes wide. Diaz, does that have the same force as your axe? Aimer and Klaus are right behind her, yelling, what in the world did you do? Diaz-sama, what just happened? Aruna, recovering quickly, smirks and takes the staff from the bewildered Diaz. As expected of you, you can control fire, I'll hold on to this for now. With the excitement over, the group finally returns to their village. Senna and Ahan rush out to greet them. They throw their arms around Diaz in a relieved hug, happy to have him back safe. Even Canis is there to reunite with Klaus. The whole group is finally back together. Canis doesn't miss the chance to tell a grinning Diaz, you stink, and just like that, the battle with Diane was officially over. In the days that followed, a new mystery presented itself. They all tried to figure out the staff's secret, testing its power again and again. After extensive research, they came to one conclusion. For some reason, only Diaz could use it. For Diaz, it was simple. It's like fixing my axe and putting strength into it, then it produces fire. But for everyone else, it was a complete mystery. In the end, they found a practical use for the legendary weapon. The fire-breathing scepter became the village's official fire starter. This staff is amazing, Ahan cheers. It's way easier than flint. A month passes. As summer approaches, the royal capital is buzzing with gossip. The main topic, the fallout from Diane's failed rebellion. Everyone's talking about the great sinner Diane, the heroic first Prince Richard, the new Duke Eldon, and the now-disgraced second Prince Meza. For her crimes, Diane was disinherited. She escaped execution but is now confined to a temple for the rest of her days. Richard, on the other hand, came out looking like a hero. He gained the king's trust and absorbed Diane's old faction, making him the most powerful prince in the kingdom. And what about Eldon? By providing key information and gifts from the West, he not only secured his title and territory but also won the king's favor. As a final apology for Diane's actions, the king gave him an unprecedented reward, a 3-year tax exemption, solidifying Duke Castex's name across the kingdom. But back in the palace, the so-called victor of this whole affair, Prince Richard, is throwing an absolute fit. His rage echoes through the halls. His retainers watch from a distance, completely baffled. What's got him in such a bad mood, one asks. He's the sole victor this time, right? An advisor clarifies the grim reality. Richard Sama says the real winner is Duke Castex. He believes this entire victory was orchestrated by him. The problem is the 3-year tax exemption, he continues. It cripples the royal treasury and gives the Duke immense power. But didn't Eldon recommend Richard for the throne? The other noble asks. Isn't that good? The advisor shakes his head. That's the trap. Richard can't openly attack a key supporter like Duke Castex, and the king won't cancel the tax exemption. Richard's furious, the advisor sighs. He said, I can't forgive myself for having done everything Duke Castex had hoped. He was completely outplayed. And while the nobles played their games, a new legend was being born. Rumors of Diaz, the patriot hero, began to spread like wildfire across the kingdom. They told tales of a hero driven out to a cursed land, only to conquer it with the power of his holy axe. A man who single-handedly slayed an earth dragon, married the most beautiful woman, and was now building a village that grew by the day. When the king heard these stories, he decided to act. With Eldon confirming these hoaxes were close to the truth. The king granted the orphan Diaz a dukedom, a new family name, and the same tax exemption as Eldon. The legend of Diaz was now official. The story spread everywhere, from the capital to the western meadows, influencing people and shaping the future of the kingdom. But far from the capital's schemes, life in Iluk village had finally calmed down. Inside their yurt, Aruna reflects on the recent chaos. Many things have finally settled down, she says. Right, I had to prepare for summer, but I couldn't. Diaz nods. I'll start working on it tomorrow. I see. Aruna glances at him, noticing how tired he is. The twins are already fast asleep. That's right, I'll loosen your muscles, she offers. Lie face down, Diaz. He gratefully accepts. Thanks, Aruna, I'll leave it to you. As the others sleep soundly, Aruna prepares to give him a much-needed massage. Diaz lays down, ready to relax. Yes, just like that. Aruna straddles his back, her expression a mix of determination and affection. Just like that, she whispers, leave everything to me. She gently begins the massage. Stroking his hair, she says softly, Diaz, you can always rely on me, you know, I'll do my best to support you. he murmurs his thanks already half asleep. He's completely exhausted. I'm so tired, tomorrow sounds so far away, let's end it for today. As he drifts off, the status of his fiefdom shows just how far they've come, from 16 subjects to 95 with new facilities and the spoils of their victory. This is a credit page, and not part of the story. This is a credit page, and not part of the story. This is a credit page, and not part of the story. This is a credit page, and not part of the story. This is a credit page, and not part of the story. Meanwhile, around the same time Diaz was locked in battle with Diane, a strange event was unfolding elsewhere. The mastiffs Francis and Fanatxt were escorting a pair of Mia much further west of Iluk village than usual. Francis found their behavior odd. What's the matter, you two? He asked. You're usually so timid, but now you've asked us to come so far from the village. The Mia suddenly stop in their tracks. They stand silently for a moment, facing the empty plains. Then, without warning, they begin to bleat frantically. Francis looks on, completely bewildered by their sudden panic. Although the dogfolk could normally converse with the Mia, this time they couldn't understand the meaning of their cries at all. The Mia's panic bleating continues to echo across the field. Suddenly a strange presence fills the air. A powerful, disembodied voice booms from the sky. The very ground beneath their feet begins to shake from the force of the sound. The mastiffs look up in shock, trying to comprehend the reverberating voice. It seemed to convey a message. It's still too soon, it's still not enough. The voice booms again, this time with a clear question. The Mia fall silent, their panic instantly gone. The voice echoes in Francis's mind. It's about time for you to return home, he thinks. Who the heck is this? The two Mia turn to each other, now perfectly calm. They turn back to the mastiffs and bleat calmly, thank you for coming with us. You really helped. Shall we return to the village? Francis and Fanatxt were baffled by the mysterious event. But soon after, news of Diaz's victory reached them, and in their celebration, the strange encounter was completely forgotten. Back at the village, life was returning to normal. In the stables, Aruna gently grooms a beautiful white horse as a man watches over them. How is it, Aisha? Aruna asks softly. Do you still hate it when I put on your leather saddle? The horse Aisha lets out a soft neigh. The man explains, Aisha used to be the horse that Diane rode. He recalls how Aruna gave the horse its new name, simply because she thought Aisha was cute. Aruna continues, we took her after that battle, but we never decided who would ride her. We only figured out who would care for her. Some horses think ill of their previous masters, she says with a knowing look. The man nods in agreement. It would be best not to rush her, let her open up to us slowly. As they speak, Aruna's expression suddenly changes. Her horn begins to glow with a vibrant green light. This is Aruna's perception magic, a magical field she deploys around the village that senses anyone who approaches, though it can't identify them. Just then, a small dogfolk is seen sprinting towards Diaz, calling his name. It runs with urgency, shouting, Diaz-sama. The dog leaps into Diaz's arms. Something is approaching the village, something shiny and slimy. Diaz calms the pup. All right, calm down, good boy. Aruna appears beside him. Is it Pagendu? She wonders aloud. Diaz adds, and his mouth is huge. In the distance, a large covered wagon makes its way towards them. A small bell on the wagon dings as it draws closer. Diaz remembers the frogman merchant. Pagendu. If I remember correctly, I asked him to recruit some new citizens for my fief last time he was here. He and Aruna watch as the wagon approaches. I wonder if he was able to gather anyone interested in migrating, Diaz thinks to himself. A frogman leaps down from the driver's seat. Ooh, you must be Diaz, there are rumors about you everywhere, the various items you ordered have arrived. The merchant introduces himself with a flourish. I'm Pagendu's little brother, Pagen Ray. Diaz is taken aback. Brother, he looks similar but his clothes and voice are different, it's not Pagendu. Pagen Ray proudly boasts about his family's legacy. I am one of the 7 sons of the 8th generation head of the Pagen family. We're a powerful merchant household with roots by land and sea. Diaz cuts to the chase. What happened to Pagendu? Ray strikes a dramatic pose. He was peddling wares with no concern for his own well-being, so I'm here on his behalf. Diaz can only mutter, I see. Pagen Ray's tone becomes serious. Before, he received a request from you to attract people to your fief. Is it all right if we discuss it? Actually, something puzzling has occurred. He gets straight to the point. Please allow me to be frank. No Jujin are willing to come here. If you wanted slaves, it would be possible, but my brother knew you disliked slavery and did everything to avoid it. However, Ray continues, the bloodless have set their sights on immigrating. Diaz repeats the unfamiliar term, bloodless. Ray explains that the bloodless are Jujin who have lost their beastman powers, becoming physically similar to humans. For unknown reasons, their bloodline thins over generations until their beastman traits disappear completely. He continues, the current Beastman King adores the bloodless, but his predecessors had a completely different mindset. The bloodless were not treated very well. Many of them want to escape the Beastman Kingdom, Ray says. There's a man named Godius who buys any abandoned bloodless he finds to save them. He's even willing to immigrate here with them and never return. So before actually bringing them, Ray concludes, I thought I should confirm whether or not it was okay. Diaz looks out at the plains, deep in thought. He's conflicted. I was thinking I obviously shouldn't accept, he muses, but... An idea begins to form in his mind. Ray offers another piece of information. Actually, there's a lord in the neighboring territory who protects Ajin and Jujin slaves. Based on the goods from there, they seem quite rich. If it worked over there, wouldn't it work here too? Aruna quietly remarks, the people who have suffered would probably live an even better life under Eldon than they would here. She seems to know of this neighboring lord. Paige Ray is intrigued. Ah, I see, you're familiar with the Jujin and the neighboring territory. Diaz's eyes fly open as the opportunity dawns on him. What did you say? He grabs the startled frogman. Please tell me more, they could be our trading partners. We could build a highway for commerce between our territories. Aruna sighs, thinking, these siblings are surprisingly similar. Diaz quickly composes himself. I apologize for my behavior, I was just too excited. Let's begin trading now. With the deal to bring the bloodless to his territory settled, Diaz gets down to business, and Paige Ray is more than happy to oblige. The frogman eagerly presents his finest wares. Speaking of which what do you think of this bowl made of mother of pearl, or perhaps this gemstone inlaid chest? Diaz is immediately overwhelmed. No, wait, those are such expensive-looking items, I don't think we can afford. But before he can finish, Aruna steps in, slamming a heavy pouch of gold on the table with a confident smile. We'll take as much as these gold coins will afford us. Please bring me anything that seems nice. Diaz looks on, concerned. Are you sure, Aruna? They're definitely well made, but they're not exactly practical for everyday life. Aruna explains her strategy with sharp economic sense. Just owning gold won't keep us from going hungry. If we don't buy their goods, merchants will stop coming. We need to let them earn money so they'll spread the word that we're good customers. We have enough in reserves, right? Diaz's eyes widen in understanding. I see, and if it's a handcrafted item, we can always sell it to someone else later. Trusting her completely, he smiles. I got it, then I'll leave it to you, Aruna. Paige Ray's grin widens, seeing a big sale on the horizon. With your budget, you can buy any of the goods over there and still have some left over. What do you think of this necklace? It's made of precious gemstones and would look wonderful on your wife. Aruna smiles sweetly, inspecting the piece. But in an instant, her expression turns to ice. Her horn glows faintly as she sees right through the merchant's ploy. He's lying. She laughs, but there's no humor in it. What a funny joke. With this budget, we should be able to buy your dried fish and smoked goods. I'll take the entire box. We'll also take the real gemstone chest over there. Oh, and the stones in this necklace are fake, and please throw in these barrels of alcohol as well. Paige Ray tries to keep his cool. But he's been completely exposed, and the sweat starts pouring.